Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. A little bit past 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Yes, I had to go late today. Don't be mad at me. Lots of stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened today. And one of the biggest things that happened today is Trump was inaugurated. Yes, he was. Today he was inaugurated. And I want to talk about it. And I thought to myself, I could sit here and yap about this, which I enjoy doing. I could do that. Or I could bring on the man you guys always bug me to bring on, the man who also has something to say. You know, he'll be wrong, but that's okay. I don't mind. I'll just correct him as I need to. As always, the man himself, the dragon of Southern Tier, the man who runs No Sound Bites Allowed, political consultant, Michael Vass. How are you, sir?
Hello, everybody. And hello, Larry. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a lot of fun. And yes, I have a lot to say, but of course, my predictions are even more right than yours. So, yeah,
okay.
I'm going to have some fun.
Okay, I like this. Look, I got to tell you, the thing that when I first, for those of you who didn't watch the actual speech, I was very happy with the way he did it. Because his last speech when he was first elected was that American carnage thing. He didn't do American carnage this time. He did not do that at all. And I was happy about that. I did not want American carnage. What I wanted was more of a unity piece, more of a positive piece. And again, I didn't vote for Trump. Doesn't matter. I think he did that. Am I wrong, Mike?
Well, first of all, let me start off. Yes, I love you too, Philip, and I love everyone else in chat. So I just wanted to respond to that. I didn't miss you there. Yes.
There he is right there. Everybody loves the boss man. There we go.
I think that for the far left, the progressive wing, we're talking about Democratic Socialists of America, BLM, Antifa, they're crying. And please, folks, please, if you know a progressive, give them a hug. They're having a very bad day. They're about to have a very bad 4 years. Hug them. They're in tears. And if you are a progressive, go seek medical help from a professional, because you guys are in trouble.
You don't got to beat them up. They've been beat up enough, Mike. You don't got to hit them when they're down.
Sure, I can. But
you can, but not required.
Okay.
But was I right? I mean, was this more positive piece?
The reason why I'm bringing that up is all of that is because when they hear that speech, the world is ending for them. They're destroyed. They're devastated. I think the overwhelming majority of America, going by the most recent polls, probably about 61% of America were very happy with that speech. It was everything they wanted. But we're talking about the very vocal 10% of America, maybe 5% of America. They're losing their minds. And they tend to be in the colleges. They tend to be the progressives.
And in cities. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Joel is already teasing you. He says, can Vass do short format like this? Only 1 or 2 hours. I'm going to squeeze him into this. I'm going to squeeze Mike into this. I'm going to squeeze him. I am.
Hey, yes. I can do the 3-minute pitch as well as anybody. I can do radio. It's not a problem.
There we go. So, but the piece that I thought was interesting is instead of this being American carnage, he called it the beginning of American golden age. And the part that I think he went too far with that. And why I say that is, yeah, I do. That's a lot. Like, that's a lot to say golden age. See, this is like me when people are like, Larry, if you run for governor, you win governorship, you're going to make this state, amazing tomorrow. I'm like, it's so broken. There's no way. Could I stop the bleeding? Yes, I can stop the bleeding. Trump basically said he's coming on and it's a golden age tomorrow. I think he oversold it. I think he's going to pay for that.
I don't think he will, because he's saying it's the start of the golden age, that throughout his term, we're going to see improvement after improvement. And I think he can achieve. Last time he ran, the last 4 years that he was in, 45, he pretty much achieved about 75% of everything he promised he delivered on. And he's looking at that is his bar. That is the bar that he has to exceed. And I think he can do it again. And we've already seen that. I mean, and we'll get into what he's already done so far today. I don't think most people realize, by my count, there's at least 85 executive orders, of which at least 80 are rescinding. They're not new orders. They're taking everything back. So I think he can achieve this. And I think the bar has to be that high, because no matter what he does, he's going to be demonized by all of the media. All the media, all the schools, they're going to say every step, everything he does is evil. It's Satan itself. And therefore, he has to set the bar extremely high, because no matter how high he puts it, they're going to say it's all evil and it can't be done.
But there's a bunch of people, and this is my pushback on this. There's a bunch of people who jumped on board, not because they liked Trump, but because they hated the establishment. And what I would say was a common thing throughout, I think this is the first time I've actually seen something like this, is that, at least in my memory, a speech that was so much anti-establishment. I've never seen a speech like this from a president that was this anti-establishment. This was almost like third-party talk, right? He made a lot of independent third parties go, what? Oh my God, really? I mean, I think that was, I mean, he literally did give a shout out to Elon Musk and to, making our kids healthy. He gave a shout out to RFK without saying their names. I wish he had said their names, but he didn't. And I took it. I take what I can get. Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot of people who are just anti-establishment. They weren't necessarily pro-Trump, but Trump represented the best anti-establishment they thought it could get. So they went down that road with him. And those people don't need a golden age. They need like the FDA to ban like red food coloring, right? They don't require a golden age. They just need some things that they wanted to get done. And I feel like we may be going too far. Phil's teasing. He says, we're planting a flag on Mars. Dude,
yeah, I heard that.
Mean, you're going, he's going too far, man. He's going too far.
Wait a minute. No, he's not. I mean, remember when JFK said we were going to the moon, and we did.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not too far. To say we're going to cure cancer, that's too far.
Yes, okay. and Biden got laughed at because of that shit. And yes, that's my point. But and Kennedy didn't say no. Hold on. Kennedy didn't say I'm going to do it. He said by the end of the decade is what he said. Now he couldn't be president by the end of the decade. He only could do 8 years. So he knew he might not be president when that happened. And sadly, for the wrong reason, he wasn't president when that happened. But he knew that. Trump is like tomorrow. He's like, we're going there tomorrow.
Well, here's the difference. We have the technology to be able to get to Mars. We do have it. That's scientifically, going to the moon at that time was considered impossible. It was beyond reach. We had to create new technology to do that. We have that technology. We have the capability to get to Mars. We can send probes there, and it is realistic, scientifically realistic, that we can land on Mars. Yes. We can do it and return. So he's not saying something that's impossible. It is unlikely. I give you that.
See, that's what I'm saying. He's going to pay for this one.
But he's not, because he's, again, if you don't set the bar high, extremely high for Trump, then you're going to be dragged through the mud, because they're already doing it. They've been doing it.
I'm going to tell you the part that I liked. Yeah, I did like that he said, if I get his quote right, I think I wrote it down someplace. I like this quote so much I can find it. Hold on. I wrote his quote down somewhere I really liked. He said, I don't remember it. I'm just gonna paraphrase. You'll remember it. He said something like, doing the impossible is what America does, or something like that. I'm getting it wrong, but it was something like that. And I thought that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. And you know what? Set the goal. There's a saying that I always used to like to say, and is, I want to reach for the stars, because if I only get the clouds, I've already succeeded. And that's a way to live your life. Reach for the stars. If you only get the clouds in the sky, you've already had success, because too many people set the bar too low. Set it high. Let's try and achieve. If Trump gets us back to the moon, or we have all the other things that we all every day say we need, and we get them, no one's going to care that we didn't get to Mars. I'm sure the left will say, oh, see, but Trump, he overestimated. We didn't get to Mars. He's a liar. Well, yeah, but lowered inflation, stabilized peace in the world, improved
Oh, okay, hold
our
on. I'll touch that
border.
in a second. Let me first go to Garrett. Garrett, thank you for the memberships, my friend. Guys, if you want to become members, please do so. Garrett's throwing some out there. Thank you, Garrett. You always come through. He threw 6 up there. Please grab them if you can. I really appreciate that, guys. Every bit counts, Garrett. You are the man. I appreciate your support so much. I really do. And while I'm at it, guys, if you do like what we're doing, please click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. And I say that to mess with Mike usually, because Mike used to be in the Marine Corps like me, and that's how we used to speak. So now I'm giving him PTSD whenever I say that. So that's
Especially
why I
since
do
I was
that.
a radio man.
Yes. So you did that all day long.
All
Exactly
day
right.
long.
Yes. So also you can share this or repost this now wherever you are. Put it into a Facebook page, put it into back on X, whatever you like. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please do so. And more importantly, select all notifications when you subscribe. I found that only 14% of you who are subscribed actually click all notifications. That's 86% too low. So I need you guys to go and click that number so that you can get everything. It's important. If you want to become a member, always good on YouTube. The join button, $49 per month is always good. And literally, Garrett just threw like 6. So grab one of those if you could. I know I'm late putting up the thing for next week. I know I am. I have been late. I've been insanely busy with a lot of work. Literally, I had to come late today because I was working on another thing today. I've got some new condos I'm working on, so it slowed me down. But if you guys become members, I can take less consulting work. See, you get more of me if you do this. So please do this if you could. I appreciate it. So go ahead,
Before you
Mike.
go further, you should pull up the comment from Love My Canine at 8:11 p.m. Yes, folks,
Okay.
I'm reading your comments as we go.
She says, first time I've watched Inauguration. I was surprised how it was insulting to the outgoing admin. Is that typical?
So this is part of what I was saying. There are people who aren't familiar with the process, and in particular, this speech, the way it was worded, there's a lot of people who will take that as being it was anti-establishment, but it was also very targeted. And no, to answer your question, Love My Canine, no, they're not usually that pinpoint, that targeted, but Trump is outspoken to say the least. So this was a little bit above and beyond what is normal. Usually it's more middle of the road, a little more generic in what the past administration did versus what the new administration is going to do. But that was to be expected from Trump. And for a Trump speech, it was toned down, believe it or not.
That's true. Yes, I agree. He was worse. Did you see when he was doing executive orders, the little speech he gave in executive orders?
No, I didn't see the speech on the executive orders.
He gave a speech like right before he did the executive orders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was normal Trump. It was the worst administration ever. Biden, he went right. So to your point, Love My Canine, Mike is correct. That's worse than most, but not bad when you look at Trump, right? Yeah. Trump can be very, he can be very spicy. He can be very biting. He absolutely can be. The rest of them usually are biting behind their back. Yeah. Trump is biting in your face.
Yeah, he's very transparent, and he's very transparent on what he wants to do in this. And this is part of the fear that a lot of the establishment, now this is establishment right and left, they're really afraid because he doesn't have to worry about re-election.
Correct.
It's not a concern for him. This is, he's got 4 years and he's done.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on, Mike. They told us that once he's elected, there's no more elections. He's gonna cancel them all.
Well, Larry, I noticed you're not in chains, and I see all the women that are typing in comments right now. I don't think they're locked into their kitchens, nor are they barefoot. Right. So I think they may have overstated the devastation.
You tell me MSNBC lied to me? Impossible.
Yeah,
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That's good. All right. I do want to grab this comment by Vivek. He says, insane how Rubio got 99-0 vote when Vivek would have been better. Hope he becomes governor and then gets the president. And the reason why I want to bring that one up is the next thing is Vivek got kind of booted out of Doge. That's why I'm going to bring this up. He got kind of booted out of Doge. It's almost like, and this is what they're all saying. And Mike, I'm going to get this is a little bit off topic, but I want to get your view on this.
Yeah.
What people are saying is that Vivek made the comment about white culture, and they got mad at him because he made the comment about white culture being lazy.
Oh God.
So they said, you can't say it about us, so you're out, and you got to go back to Ohio, and you got to run for senator or governor now. That's what
Okay.
they're saying. What's your view on this?
First of all, the people who are saying that are embarrassed because he's right. And we know this because independent studies on polling on business owners, small business owners, 53% of college graduates are useless and they're getting fired because they can't do the job. They're not prepared. They have no idea what the real world is. And that's because they've been coddled for so long and they've been filled with this programming thinking that the world's going to be filled with safe spaces and they're entitled to everything and they don't have to work. They think it's Twitter of 2016 rather than the world of today. And that's so he's right. He didn't say anything wrong. He said the truth. And some people got embarrassed. The
So
reality
wait,
is
hold on. You're saying that white culture is lazy.
no, I'm saying that our students graduating from college are useless. 53% of them. That's what I'm saying.
That's not what he said, though.
No, that is what he said. He didn't say white people. He said our students are useless. They're lazy. And they are. And they're not prepared to work. And they haven't been trained to work.
So So then why did he get booted to Ohio then?
Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. One, like anywhere where you have two co-leads, they bumped heads, him and Elon. Okay. And they have a difference in the way to get things done. Fine. Maybe Elon wasn't getting as much attention. And he has an opportunity now because of Governor DeWine to be able to run for a higher office, which allows him to run in 2028 with executive experience, not just Doge, a separate part that isn't officially part of the government, not an advisory board, but actually as a member of elected office, which is far more credible and gives him more of a boost to run for president in 2028. It's the one thing that really held him back in this last election, 2024.
Well, I don't think
he had a better opportunity.
I think it's 2036 for him. I think it's 2036 for him, not 2028. I think 2036.
No,
I don't
he's going to run. He's definitely, whether he gets it or not, he will run in 2028.
If he's the governor of Ohio, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's going to finish out at least one term, if not two.
No, I don't know that he would. But
yeah,
but you know what? It's a setup for. He's got governor's experience. He's got executive office experience in government, which gives him the opportunity to run. He doesn't have to share the limelight with anyone else. And Elon Musk loves to suck up all of the limelight. And executives, all executives, not just technology executives, every executive and everyone in politics is an egomaniac. You have to be, otherwise you wouldn't run. It's the only way. You have to be that thick-skinned to actually get through it all.
You're not wrong.
And you have two egomaniacs that are tech geniuses, that are billionaires, and they're fighting against each other. It's not good.
Let me move on, if I could, to the thing that I thought was very interesting. And he actually talked about, which people don't talk about. He talked about free speech.
Yeah.
He talked about ending censorship.
Government censorship.
Correct. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Correct. You're correct. Let me be clearer. He talked about ending federal government censorship and about free speech. Mm-hmm. This to me was what I wanted to hear. Like that made Larry go, oh, okay, right. That made me feel good. I really enjoyed that part. Do you think? How does that? Here's my worry. Right. My worry is he says that, but then there's a crisis. And he falls like he fell last time to the Faucis of the world. And he all of a sudden goes back and go, well, yeah, free speech, but this is an emergency. So shut it down. That is my concern.
Okay. We're talking about two separate things there. Actually, three. So, by the way, Fauci, he got a pardon.
I know.
Yeah, he's a criminal. That's why he got a blank. And by the way,
we're going to talk about pardons in a minute. Finish this one, though. Don't go down there. You'll talk for an hour on him. Just give me this one. Give me this one.
Trump didn't silence people talking about the lockdowns and the jab or any of that. He never suggested. He never went. There's not one article that says the White House contacted social media and said shut people down about talking about this, which we do know for a fact from multiple sources around the world. the Biden White House did do that. Democrats did try and silence
What
him.
I'm saying is he fell back to believing in Fauci when he got worried and concerned because it was emergency.
Okay,
So
but
that is my worry, that he
Okay.
will do the same thing next time some censorship guy says, you don't understand, Mr. President, this is critical because XYZ, so you got to shut this down.
No, because they're two separate things. One, there's freedom of speech, which Trump, even in the face of an emergency, global emergency that nobody understood what was going on, he still did not silence the public. He let people say whatever they thought about this and have the conversations, and he left it alone. So I don't think there will be any new emergency that would cause him to stop people from talking, because he didn't.
Okay.
So we have that experience, when you have that track record. In terms of taking the advice of individuals in government who have a history of doing nothing but be government, I think he has learned now from experience that he has to, have a pound of salt, as these experts who've done nothing but politics are giving him advice. And he's a little more hesitant to just blank, straight down the line go, well, that's his job, I'm going to listen to him. Now he's going to get more advice. He's going to get more opinions, professional opinions outside the government to confirm what he's doing. That's the experience he learned. That's what he needs to do. So I don't think we will get another lockdown, even if there's an emergency. We're not going to wind up in another lockdown scenario, because that only happened because he didn't know that he couldn't trust a Fauci. He didn't know that a guy like Fauci is all about the establishment and protecting himself, and all the things that he's done that are somewhat shady at the very least, and potentially criminal, which is why he got a pardon. And now he knows better. And we see that with many of the people he's picked.
All right.
We're getting
Robert
more of that
on
rounded, experienced president that we didn't have then.
Robert says, all hail proxy President Elon Musk. Now, this was a weird thing. Two things I thought were weird.
Mm-hmm.
His first one, his American Carnage, when he first came on, he spoke a lot about, I'm the guy who's going to help out the weak. I'm the guy who's going to take care of the people who were forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that.
Yeah.
He didn't say much of that this time. That wasn't a big deal this time. And he had on stage gazillionaires.
Okay.
So I understand why guys like Robert say, hail proxy President Elon. There was a bunch of very wealthy people up there. And the biggest one, now, don't get me wrong, I didn't want them to ban TikTok. I was against the TikTok ban the whole time. I'm glad he's not banning TikTok. However, here's my however on this. He was all about banning TikTok. Yeah. And all of a sudden, rich people show up. He's like, oh, I was just kidding. That's not real.
Well, wait a minute. Was it rich people, or was it that he's had enough time outside of government, outside of the media pressure on him as president, to look over the situation and reevaluate, and part of his freedom of speech platform to look at it and say, well, does that match with what I'm saying to the American people? This is yet another access point for the American people. Now, people are going to say, oh, no, it's because of the billionaires. Okay, take off the 3 billionaires that were in the audience there for the inauguration. And just look at all the elected and formerly elected officials in the United States. How many multimillionaires are there?
A lot.
Almost everyone. Almost everyone.
Most of them. Yep.
Okay. We're talking about Clinton. We're talking about Obama. We're talking about Biden, Kamala. They're all multimillionaires.
Yep.
So please, let's remember, half of Congress are multimillionaires. We're not talking about, he had a bunch of rich people. Everyone in government has a bunch of rich people surrounding them. That's true. Not the problem. Are they effective? Are they efficient? How many times do I say that for a decade now? Literally a decade. I've been talking about efficiency in our government, effectiveness in our government. These are effective individuals. The reason why people are going, and the only time that people started saying, well, it's President Elon, is after CNBC and MSNBC, CNN and MSNBC, Joy Reid came out and said, oh, well, it's President Elon Musk.
Yeah,
they ran with it. No one in the public was saying that.
Yep.
No one was saying that until the media put that into their heads, because they need to find a way to attack Trump. and they don't have anything. Everything they have used for 8 years has failed. So now they have to find something new.
All right. So let me go to another piece if I could. And this goes right to the MSNBC piece.
Sure.
He said something. He said two things that for many people will be absolutely reversed. Like it will make no sense. He said he spoke specifically to Hispanic and Black Americans, which again, that part I liked. I liked that he brought that up. That was good of him to do so. And he thanked them for the support that they gave him, which I think is a good thing to do because in the past, Black and Hispanic Americans have not supported the Republican Party anywhere near as much as they supported Trump. Trump got the most support from those two communities in at least 50 years, if not more, since maybe Reagan. I mean, it's been a long time since Black Reagan and Hispanic Americans have supported Republicans so much. So he thanked them, which I thought was a great thing. I mean, he's usually not very magnanimous, and in this case, he was.
Yeah. So
that was a good thing. He then called it Liberation Day. That I wasn't happy about, but that's okay. That's good for him. I didn't like that at all. Liberation Day is Juneteenth. That's Liberation Day.
Juneteenth yes, it is. Fake.
No, Juneteenth is not fake. It's Liberation Day. It is not fake. It's Liberation Day.
It's crap.
Anyway, it's not crap. It's a great day. So you're wrong, but that's fine.
Yes, I know the history of it. It's crap.
I do too. I have a whole video on it, and I'm correct. It's not crap at all.
It is all about politicking. It's nothing serious. But let's go.
All right. Vass is wrong, everybody, but let's keep going. And then at the same time, he says this, but then he says, no more DEI in government. Now, I want to be clear. I'm happy about that. I'm not unhappy about that. I'm not unhappy about that. But what I'm saying is, to many people, it's almost like saying oil and water, right? How can you say, I care about, Black America, Hispanic Americans, all creeds, colors, ethnic backgrounds, which is what he said, and then go, by the way, no DEI.
Well, DEI has something to do with...
Aren't most people going to say that's crazy?
No. I'm sure every progressive out there said that. Everyone else who has a brain, everyone else who actually believes that people, regardless of their color or have agency in their lives, will say that's fantastic because it's about merit. It's about being qualified. It's about being the best person, not the right checkbox. And DEI is dehumanizing. It absolutely dehumanizes everyone.
You don't got to piece me on DEI. I stopped doing those types of training in my day. You know what my day job is. I stopped doing that training because they all wanted me to do anti-racist training. I'm like, I'm not doing that bullshit. It's garbage.
Yeah.
So I had to stop. I literally stopped doing diversity training because it became garbage. So I stopped doing it. So I'm with you. All I'm saying is, can't you see how a bunch of Americans can say, that doesn't match, is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to argue on DEI. It's not what I'm arguing on.
I understand. But remember, we're talking to everyone besides you and me. But I do not believe that anyone who hasn't been institutionalized by Harvard or Columbia, Cornell University, UCLA, if you didn't go to one of the colleges, if you're just a regular average working Joe across America, then you've never wanted DEI. You've never agreed with DEI. And there is no disconnect there because DEI doesn't represent the capabilities of people of color or women or anyone else you want to put out there. DEI is an artificial political enslavement.
Did you see what Bill Maher said about it on Friday?
No.
Bill Maher literally on Friday.
Stuck up.
Nope. You're wrong on that one. Bill Maher is an establishment guy who does have something that most of them don't have, which is he actually has a libertarian streak in him because he used to be libertarian back in the day when he was doing his politically incorrect show. So he still has a libertarian streak in him. And he literally said, no, I'm telling you it's true. And he literally said on Friday, he actually said one of the reasons for the fires being bad was DEI diversity. And he brought it up. This is Bill Maher. Well, and again, he's Mr. Establishment, said Trump is evil, said he's going to destroy the world, said Harris was the best answer. This is this guy. And he said that. So what I'm saying is to say, I'm validating your point.
Yeah, but
I'm validating your point. I'm saying even he gets this is bad.
Yeah, because he goes with wherever the flow is. Remember, he was also the guy who said that Me Too doesn't apply to Joe Biden because Joe Biden has to win in 2020. He's also the guy in 2018 that was saying, I hope that everyone in America goes into a recession. Not just
Yes.
maybe even a depression, because it would help get someone out.
I
Get Trump
remember
out.
that. Yes.
Yeah, he's an evil.
And I'm saying that guy said it. That's my point.
Because
That's
everyone
the guy
has said it before him. Where was him saying that in the months? He was all about Gavin. He was all about these policies.
He was.
The fact
he had Caruso on. He had the guy who ran against Newsom on his show Friday.
Okay. Fear ye most, ye lukewarm Christian. I understand that today it is popular to be against Newsom and all the policies that he supported for years. And now, because it's disadvantageous for him and his friends all lost their houses, that he's now saying, oh my God, who could have understood this? Newsom screwed up. You were supporting them every day. Bill Maher is the least welcome opinion that I ever hear, which is why I don't really listen to him, because he'll say whatever it takes to get, he's selfish. He wants to advance himself no matter what. I
think we are torn. The audience is torn on this Liberation Day thing. Ryan says, I was also taken aback by Trump's Liberation Day comment. I didn't like that comment at all. Then I realized that it was Trump that that said that, and I was no longer, no one should be surprised. Yeah, I agree. It is that, but I didn't like it. Christine says, I'm not mad about the Liberation comment. I feel more free. Okay. And hold on, I got a couple more I got to pop up before you go. Let me go a couple more. Okay. I got a couple more here. Joel's on your side. He says, I'm with Mike on Juneteenth. Yeah, Joel, you're also wrong. Mike likes you. He goes, I like Mike on point and factual. I like Mike too. He's wrong, but I like him too. I agree with both of them. So yes. All right, go ahead.
All right. By the way, folks, you should see when me and Larry are in person, we know each other. We've known each other for like a decade. You should see when we sit down and we're just having a conversation. It gets really wild. Anyway, liberation. Let's talk about that. When you heard him say liberation, I just want to understand, what did you hear that as? What do you think what context do you think he's saying that in?
He was trying to say, and that's how I heard it. Like, oh, now you're liberated because I'm here. And that's what I heard. And I'm like, no.
Go further. What else what's the context? The context wasn't about
That's what
Trump.
It was. He literally said, he was like, I want to say thank you for supporting me, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'm going to make sure that I support everybody who is Black. And he said, if I remember his words, it was regardless of race, ethnic culture, or creed. I believe that's what he said.
Yes.
Or something like that. He said, this is your consider this Liberation Day.
Yes.
And I'm like, no,
but that's not about Trump. He's talking about liberation of your freedoms, the American liberation, or liberation from the establishment, from the policies that have been holding people back, that have been dehumanizing them. He was talking about
liberation. Don't say Liberation Day.
Yes.
That's the wrong phrase.
No, liberation for the American people, for American freedoms. He's talking in, it's almost like the royal we, or was it the royal I, or is it, what is it? You know what I mean?
It's the royal we.
Royal we. It is the royal we. He's saying it in that sense. He is encompassing America. It is a liberation from policies that have restricted and
but he said it right after he was talking about Blacks and Hispanics.
And they have been some of the most oppressed.
Christine says the right thing. She says he's literally liberating J6 prisoners. Yes, then say that. I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with that. Yes.
But that's another aspect of the royal liberation, the national liberation. It wasn't about, and that's the problem. People assume that everything Trump is saying that is very grand and very all-encompassing, as in it's all about Trump, because he has a huge ego, even among people who are egomaniacs in government. But sometimes he's just talking about the aspirations and the benefits to the nation, which that speech, as much as it was poking at Democrats and progressives and Biden and Kamala, it was also talking about the aspirations for America, the inspiration for America. Both things were happening in that conversation.
Look, a lot of people on your side, Khalil says liberation from the old and stepping towards new. Agreed.
Yeah.
He's saying a liberation from the establishment. Agreed. I'm with you, right? Matt says, I heard as liberation for Americans from what we have been burdened with.
Yes.
Agreed. But whoever wrote that speech, you put that in the wrong spot, speech writer.
I don't think so.
If
I
you
think it
are
worked
watching
perfectly.
speech writer, you put that in the wrong spot.
No,
Look,
I think
I'm
some
just
people are
telling you.
overly sensitive, especially.
Yes.
Well, that's because you've been so suppressed for the last 4 years. And by the way, since Obama with his transformation, we have been so oppressed for a couple of decades now that people are very sensitive when they hear these things because they instantly click in, oh, well, it must be some kind of racial or some
Which
kind of
is, you should
segregation.
know
It's
better
not.
as the speech writer. You're explaining why I'm right. I'm
No.
correct.
No, I think you're taking it the wrong way. I took it exactly as it was written, as it was spoken in context of the total speech. It was aspirational. It wasn't derogatory. It wasn't limiting. It was, yeah, it wasn't limiting. It
All
was
right.
freeing.
This is the part that I want to bring up too. We're going to move it to the next, if you don't mind. And this part, and again, I'm not unhappy about this. I want to be clear. I'm not saying I'm not judging this. I'm saying this was surprising. Like, this is not what people have done in the past. He literally said that there are only two genders, male and female.
Yes.
For a president to say that in an inauguration address, that's a big deal. Like,
It's
that's
supposed to be
a big deal. That's not like something little. And the reason why I say it is, without question, when you say that, again, I'm not saying I'm against it. Not, please understand, I'm saying the impact of it, whether you agree with it or not.
I do.
The
I agree.
impact of that is gonna, I mean, if there's anyone who was already against him, holy shit, are they against him now? Like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, but they were expecting this anyway. If they are upset that there's only two genders, they were always against him in the first place. He didn't say anything that surprised them. They were waiting for him to say this. They knew he was going to say it. So they're not. No, there's like the overwhelming majority of America, and then there's that splinter of the progressive far left. The progressive far left believe there's like literally infinite numbers of genders. We have professors teaching this.
you know, I'm with you. Look, hold on. Let me touch this. Let me touch what Shannon's saying. Larry, I think you're being too soft on this one. I'm not being too soft. That's not what I'm saying. You act like because I bring it up, I somehow agree with it.
No.
I don't.
No, I don't.
I am against DEI at all. I'm against it. I don't teach it. And literally, it's my job. I could go right now and make tons of money teaching DEI bullshit. I can. Mike knows. I could go do it right now.
10 times as much money.
I don't. I'm saying, I'm not trying to say that this is good or bad. I'm saying this is impactful, is what I'm saying. Yes. I'm talking about the impact of this, Cheyenne, not the right or wrongness of this. And there's a chunk of America who is like, oh my God, I'm bringing this up because I think this is impactful, not whether I agree with it or not.
No, I know exactly. I understand exactly what you're saying. And I understand you are looking at that small splinter. If we're going by the numbers, about 7% of all Democrats are actually progressive. They're a splinter of the Democratic Party, which is even less of a percentage of the entire nation. So we're talking about 3% of the nation, about 7% of all Democrats. And they're the ones who are going to look at this and they're going to freak out. The thing is, they also happen to have an oversized, overwhelming influence on Hollywood, which is entertainment such as music, and also in the news media. So they're going to lose their minds, and they're going to make it seem like everyone in America and the world are freaking out because there's only two genders. No, the overwhelming number of Americans in poll after poll agree with this very logical, historical, factual point. Two genders, period. You can, now, no one's saying, and Trump also emphasized this in the speech, you can live however you want. If you want to be a toaster, good luck for you. If you want to be a cat, just make sure you're neutered and go live your life. I'm fine with it. As long as you don't touch children, go do you. But it is entirely different to try and subvert science, subvert history, subvert fact and genetics by trying to push this onto people and change everything in the way everyone lives, because a splinter of the American, of a political faction, say, oh, I feel, so you have to feel what I feel. I'm sorry. That's not how
Christine
America
has
works.
a valid point here, and this is the issue that I'm bringing up here. Before I go there, hold on. Mike says, Larry plays devil's advocate to view both sides. 13th man, so to say. It's true. It's one of my skill sets. You're absolutely correct. That is one of my
Especially
skill
with
sets.
me. Yes.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, yes. But Robert goes on a point and says, government has no place in defining anything, especially gender and geography. I agree. I'm with you.
I disagree with that.
I agree. Christine says, well, he's a libertarian like me. That's why you disagree. But we're both right, by the way, this one, Mike. Anyway, Christine says, that splinter is really loud. Give them fidgets and send them to a safe space. And the point I want to bring with this is, I think, Christine, to your point, I think this is what Trump has actually said. Now, this is why I think, even though it was shocking for a president to say that. However, I think in the long run, it's going to be a good thing. And this is why I think it's going to be a good thing. I think that splinter is going to be loud. You're right. It's who they are. They're going to be on MSNBC yelling and screaming. You're right. And I've already heard it. My daughter's already told me some stuff she's heard already. My daughter's 20 and she's a lot of friends in that world. We're in New York City. And I'm not joking. They're calling it, I don't know if I can use the word on YouTube. Geno side.
Oh, really? You got to be
They're
kidding.
already calling it that.
Oh my God.
Yes. I can only use the word because you know what I'm talking about, right? They already called it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's trying to get rid of us all. It's Geno side. That's what they're saying. So, but I do think Christy has a valid point. They're going to get loud again. They're going to call these things. But if we don't react, I said this 3 months ago, this election was heavily about people saying, I'm tired of being shamed. I'm tired of being yelled at. I'm tired of being scolded. The shaming's not going to work anymore. And I think, Kristen, to your point, they are going to go into their safe space. It's not going to work this time.
They already have.
And I think
blue sky.
Yes, and it's failing. I think you're totally correct. I think it's already happening. So anyway, go ahead, Mike. I just want to bring up that point.
No, you're making. I'm not. We're not fundamentally disagreeing with each other. We're looking at it from slightly different aspects. You're highlighting and pointing out, and fair enough, because I'm very right wing. I am a Republican conservative, and you're pointing out that there is another wing, there is another voice in this conversation. So I appreciate that. And I understand your libertarian point of view on this. I respect that. At the same time, I disagree. I think that it is meant to be shocking because we need to shock America. It goes back to what Vivek said about America. We have failed the next generation. When 53% of those leaving college can't do any job, that they are complete failures, then we need a shock to the system. Our system has failed our next generation, which means America has failed, and we have to fix that as fast as possible. That's not just a leak in the boat. That's a torpedo to the side, and the boat is listing. We have to fix this immediately. And that means we don't have time to coddle them and make them feel better and soothe them as we go and remind them that life is real. I'm sorry. That's fine when you're 5. You're 25. I got no time to waste on you. If you didn't figure it out before, if your parents and the schools didn't get you ready for it, hello, wake up. This is America. This is the world. Live with it. Deal with it.
Michael Velov's got a good point. He says Blue Sky should have been named Snowflake. That would have been better.
I like that.
That would have been better. I agree. Because you can go, could have been called like Safe Space.
Well, Andrew says Blue Pill.
Yeah. James says woke Twitter. That's not bad. There's a lot of them. There we go. Yeah. I like that. That's good. Yeah, we got a bunch of those going back and forth. So the other piece I thought was amazing. This part I liked. And I think this sets a precedent that I think really helps. And that is, he said he's going to allow the people in the military who were thrown out for not taking the stick. I don't want to say the word because I'm going to get canceled. You know what I mean? When I say the stick,
jab.
They didn't take it.
The
jab. Thank you. The jab. They did the jab. That they can come back and they can even get back pay.
That was huge.
What I like about that is it teaches a lesson to the DOD. You're going to be embarrassed by this. Don't do this shit again. Right? That is what I like, the precedent of this more. I'm happy the guys get their jobs back in cash. I am. But I think it's actually bigger than that. I think that move is bigger than just helping those guys out. And two reasons. One, for those you don't know, Mike knows this, but some of you in the audience may not know this. A lot of those guys, they were some of our best and brightest when it comes to our fighting men.
Mm-hmm.
They were some of the most hardcore guys. These are Navy SEAls.
Experienced
These are Marine Corps recon.
Mm-hmm.
These were tough guys, and we got rid of them all because they're like, no, I'm in great shape. I'm a badass. I'm a killer. I'm not doing this. And they left. We lost some of the best people that we had. And so I think that also works, but I think precedent's good. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I agree with you. We need it for the defense of America. We need the experience in our military, especially in a world where we now have Russian troops that are experienced. We have Iranian troops. We have North Korean troops.
North Koreans
that are all getting trained. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's Chinese involved in there, drones operators from around the world that literally hate America. They all have real world experience, current real world experience. Mind you, we have some too. I mean, we've had our wars, but we need
our wars against people who wore sandals, not boots.
Exactly. And not using drones in the way that they're using drones now. So
Correct.
We need these experienced people. But you're right. That's one aspect of it. But there's also the legal pile on from this. The federal government has admitted that it made a mistake, that it failed our military, it failed the people. And that means that every state government, like New York State, like California, like Illinois, that fired its fire department, its
nurses,
doctors, its police force, its nurses, that they were wrong. This is something you now can go and use in the courts. Even the government has admitted this was a failure, this was a mistake. Rehire all these people and give them the back pay because it was a violation of the Eighth Amendment. It was above and beyond, and it wasn't criminal. There was no reason for this. I mean, part of the reason why healthcare in New York State in particular, which you and I know very well, is so abysmal right now, same thing with Illinois, California, Massachusetts, is because our doctors, we got rid of 31,000 doctors and nurses and healthcare professionals in New York State alone were fired by Kathy Hochul because they wouldn't get an experimental medication that had no proven track record. We're finding it out as we go. And they fired these frontline individuals. And now we don't, we already had a shortage.
State. Have you been to a New York State hospital recently? It's a joke. It's totally underfunded, not underfunded. Sorry. It's totally understaffed.
Yeah.
Every one of them. Unless you go to a private, again, as always, if you make 7 figures a year and you don't mind writing a check to your private doctor, you're good. But unless you make 7 figures a year and you write your check to your private doctor, you're struggling here in New York City. It's true. I agree.
And this is the way to correct that. Now there is a precedent, and it opens up the door for these individuals. Some of them, I know some doctors went into private care. Many of them went to other states because, by the way, there's a shortage of doctors in the United States of 1.8 million. That was as of 2019. The number has only increased. There was a similar number of shortage of nurses across America. That number has only increased. We also disincentivized many new people from actually becoming doctors and nurses or in healthcare because they were shown, and this is how the government's going to treat you if you don't obey the government, regardless of your own personal healthcare. So this is a way to get them back and deal with that. So he's looking long-term, big picture. How do I fix America? How do I fix the medical situation? Part of it is separate of whatever program, besides getting rid of Obamacare. But even if you don't, we still need doctors and nurses and practitioners.
Yes.
We have to get them back. And we have to get them back in some of the places like the biggest density populations. How do I do that? Well, this is the jumpstart. This gives that way, opens that door. So he's really been thinking this through. This speech is incredible because it shows that he has been thinking long-term and to the benefit of American citizens first and foremost. And as much as the left will hate this, the average American citizen will love it. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the Title IX, how he's protected people with that.
Let me go down a road that is bad. And you're going to be mad at me, but I don't care. This is bad.
I get mad at you all the time.
It's true, but I was right. And this is where I'm going to say I was right. Everybody was talking trash about Trump and how the second he comes into play, he's going to stop all the wars and everything's going to be done. No, everything's going to be a peace treaty, blah, blah, blah. And I said, this shit is hard to fight. The military-industrial complex is no joke. They don't want these wars to end. They got to make sure they're making their money, whether they're fighting wars or not. He will be stifled at every point. Not just that. Everyone around the world, they got their own reason to fight these wars. He's only one man. He's not getting a peace treaty and I said it more than once, he's not going to. And how do I know I was right? Because he spent almost no time on foreign policy on his speech. Almost none. He said like 2 light things and he walked up. He's like,
wait.
He was like, war is bad. And then he walked away from that shit.
No,
he
it wasn't like
he was going to have peace.
I got the hostages back.
Yes, that's one thing. That's not ending the war. No. That's not ending the war. No, it isn't. That is a temporary ceasefire.
No.
That's not ending the war, and that's not a peace treaty. Okay. And you and I both know the Israelis may not even go through phase 3 of this. They might, and they might not.
They will.
You know that.
No, they will, and there's a reason for it. But as who might not is Hamas, but that's another thing. I think you underestimate both the impact and what that meant. So in terms of the military, by the way, I should start off with, I made 2 big predictions immediately after, also before the election, but immediately after the election about Donald Trump. And I said this on your program, and I said it on my own, of course. And I said that, 1, that we would get the hostages back before Trump got in office. And 2, that there would be, I believe I said it would be a not a ceasefire, but a peace in the Ukraine, that they would resolve the whole thing.
Yep.
And then I think I modified it after the election to there would be a ceasefire at least. Obviously, I'm wrong about the Ukraine. I admit that. Absolutely. I got that wrong. I was right about the hostages. And I think it's important to understand that what happened with the hostages is a much bigger signal internationally than what it may seem like. Because this is a signal that America is actively involved with a focused plan for foreign policy, that we are more than willing to actively be involved where the interest of America lies, and that we will not just sit around and wait and negotiate, and more importantly, give away sanctions and money to countries that don't like us to maybe let them sit down and talk with us. That action will happen immediately. And that is a very different mindset than what we saw with the Biden-Harris administration.
They were worried about with you. Okay, right. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. All I'm saying is, I think I'm basically doing another tour of I was right. I told you so. Because he literally did not spend time saying, he didn't even mention the word Ukraine in his entire thing.
Didn't need to.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. I think that is encapsulated in him saying, I got the hostages back. That is a signal flare to the world that America is involved and will take action.
America is involved, but we've already known America's been involved in Israel-Gaza war. America's been involved in that. That's not surprising.
No, we haven't. That's
why giving them tons of money.
No, that's why American hostages have been held for 15 months. They have been tortured and sexually abused. We had 22 people. Let me be correct. We got 5 people back. 17 Americans were held for 15 months by Hamas. They killed 14. We're going to get back 3 living Americans. We were not involved in what happened with Hamas.
Okay.
We were all the way out of that.
If you think the only people who don't want a peace is Hamas, you are smoking crack. There are so many factions in Israel. There are factions in Israel who never want to stop warring. And there are factions who want peace. It's not just Hamas. It's also factions in Israel also. They have their own government issues they're working with. They have their own people they're working with.
Absolutely. So but you know who stopped for 15 months? Do you know who stopped a ceasefire from happening? Hamas.
And
because no, it was Hamas.
Yes, you're
Hamas
totally wrong.
Rejected the one thing that Hamas had to do was give back the hostages. That was the only condition they had to agree to, that they would have had a ceasefire immediately.
This is Phil. Phil says this is right.
They got a ceasefire.
Trump said Netanyahu was harder to deal with than the Palestinians. Biden said the same thing too. You are demonstrably false in this one, Mike. It's not even close. Trump said it.
Netanyahu had to be convinced. Netanyahu had to be convinced to go through the entire process. And more importantly, had to be convinced to not get all the hostages up front at once. He had to go through the process. That's what he needed to be convinced of. He wanted all the hostages day one. That's it. Do it. Otherwise, I want to bomb the hell out of you. That's what was Netanyahu's problem.
That's still a problem.
I'm not saying it's not a problem, but you know what?
Yes.
They should have gave back the hostages. I agree with him. They should have given us, we should have every body of every American and all the 3 living Americans, we should have them back today. Instead, we have the news media that is calling every American held an Israeli instead of saying Americans, or instead of saying British. They have diminished the number of Americans that have been killed because of this delay. They are playing political
You are
games
literally just explaining why I'm right.
I don't.
You are literally explaining why I'm right.
I do not see the emphasis of the problem. You know what? Maybe. You know what? I'll even give you, I am biased in this.
Yes.
I don't, and my bias is against terrorists. And so if my bias is that I am less willing to give the benefit of doubt to terrorists who killed American civilians and tortured them and sexually abused them and held them as a hostage for 15 months, I am more than happy to say that is my bias, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having
and we're
that
good.
bias.
All right. So I'm just gonna gloat a little bit on my I told you so. That's all I'm gonna do. Because I knew this is hard. This is not anywhere near as easy. And I'm not even sure that they're gonna keep the ceasefire in Israel. I'm not even sure that's gonna happen. I hope it does. Don't get me wrong. I want to be wrong. I want there to be peace. But I think this is the thing I talked about last year. The problem we're having now with the Gaza issue is Israel still does not have secure borders except Jordan and Israel and Egypt. And Israel needs to have secure borders. They still don't. Yeah. And the Palestinians deserve to have a government they can live under.
No, they don't.
They don't have that.
No,
so neither of them has that. So, and that's my problem. Neither of those 2 problems have been solved. So this is just a temporary something or other until they fight again, which drives me crazy.
As long as the Palestinian people support a terrorist organization that believes in genocide of their neighbors, there is never going to be peace there, and they're never going to get it resolved. And the Palestinians do not deserve to have a state of their own if their belief is genocide.
I did not say a state of their own. I said a government. I did not say if I'm okay if it's a 1 state, 2 state, shove them into Israel, shove them into Egypt, shove them into Jordan. I don't care. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they deserve to have a government. They didn't have that, and that's what they deserve. I don't care where it is. Shove them into Jordan, shove them into Egypt, put them into Israel, 1 state solution. I don't know what the answer is. I don't care what the answer is. I don't care. All I want is that there's no difference in my comment. I mean, it's a little bit off, but it's comment's the same. DC is a problem. The people in DC, Washington, D.C., can't vote the way every other person in the state can. People go, we make D.C. a state. Okay, no worries. Then make D.C. really tiny, only government buildings, and give the rest of it back to the states. Give it back to Maryland. Give it back to Virginia. Don't make it a state. Just give the people a way to vote. I don't care how you do it.
D.C. always had a way to vote. D.C. was created specifically with a purpose in mind. To put the capital in any one state gave those states too much power.
No, you're missing my point. So you leave the capital, it's just the working buildings as the capital. But the places where people live, the residential areas, give the residential areas back to those states. Give it back to either Maryland or Virginia. I'm fine with that. I don't care.
The people were never supposed to, no one was supposed to stay and live in D.C.
I know.
But that was a matter of infrastructure. That's just the way we grew.
So
but the people they have the right to vote to go outside the state to any of the surrounding states or any other state, and they can vote. No, you don't get to vote in D.C. No, you don't get that. It was never intended.
So do one of 2 things. Either make it a state. I'm okay with that. I don't care. Or make the residential areas part of the others. Make the actual buildings that do the work. That's part of DC. The residential areas, they go out back to the state. They go back to Maryland or Virginia, whatever. You do that, you solve the problem.
Yeah, but they integrated the living spaces in DC into
which was dumb. So change it.
As well. You know what? I'm not disagreeing that it was dumb or not, but people moved in there and lived there with the understanding of why DC was created in
They
the way it
didn't.
was.
Half of them were former slaves when they moved in. They had no idea. They had no idea. They were
Larry,
just
you're
like,
telling
I'm
me in
not
the
a slave
last
here.
100, you mean to tell me in the last 100 years, people haven't had access to find out why DC doesn't have the
No,
vote?
they have, but now
Okay.
you're asking someone to pack up and leave when you don't need to. And my point is, you fix it. Now, I
They
went off
don't have
topic,
to.
but the point's the same way. The Palestinians deserve to have a government. I don't care what that answer is. If you pack them up, moving to Egypt, okay. Once they choose it, I don't care. It does not matter to me. But yes, the Palestinian people deserve to have a government that they
You know,
can vote on. They can do that. They deserve that.
I only care because they made me care. The moment they killed Americans, the moment they took them hostage, the moment they killed those hostages rather than let them be rescued, they made it an American issue. So I have a problem. And
Well,
I
if you
don't
give them a
want to
government, they won't do
support
that.
I do not want to support in any way, shape, or form. They don't get humanitarian aid.
You
They
just
don't get to
mad.
say hello. They don't get to go on the internet. I don't want to ever hear anything from them until we get every single American back and they give us retribution for killing our people in cold blood. I'm sorry. And I have a bias.
I know.
You
You
killed our
clearly,
people.
clearly you have a bias. Clearly you do. But
Yes,
anyway,
that
let
is a
me
sore
move on
point
if
for
I
me.
could.
I'm sorry.
Christine says, can we give woke professors their pink slips?
I wish.
In theory, that really can't be done at the federal level. Could it be done at a state level? It could be in theory. It could be in theory, but I don't see that happening right now. I don't see that happening at all.
I don't either.
I don't.
By the way,
Yeah.
I want to apologize, folks. The issue about Hamas, I've been screaming about it literally every
I
week
know.
for 15 weeks
I know.
in a row. I've been following this every day. I take it very personally. So I apologize, Larry. I got very excited. And I don't, you know me. I know
I
you
get
don't take it
triggered
personally.
too. I get it.
You know, we all get triggered. That was one of my triggers. So I don't want the audience to think it's personal or anything about you and me. It's just that's my trigger.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Cheyenne says the MIC should be able to make money here. I actually agree, Cheyenne. I think there is a way to get them to make money, and most of it's going to be on rebuilding, because many of the same companies will contract to rebuild. Many of the same companies will, will contract to rearm afterwards. So I think you can. I don't think they have, and that's the issue. And I think a lot of it in the case of Ukraine is there's a lot of grift in Ukraine, like a lot of grift. So the question is, how do you get either get the grifters out, option one, or if you're going to keep them, how do you keep them grifting? This is to your point. It's hard either way. There's not an easy answer here. And there's going to be some negotiations. And it may be some people having accidents to get out of the way. That could happen too. This is Ukraine. So that could happen, right? They might have an accident and all of a sudden not be around anymore. That could happen too. So yes, I do think that could be an issue. It's just not easy, is my point. This is not a simple thing. And do I think if anyone could do it, it's Trump? Look, as I mentioned many times, Trump being the way he is, I think he is the best guy for this job. I don't know if he can do it even this year. I hope he can. I think he can, and I hope he can. But Ukraine is a massive moneymaker for a lot of people. And for them to just go, okay, you're fighting a lot, is all I'm saying. And I think Trump's people, when they went, like he sent his cool guy over to Israel, that Witkoff guy. That guy's brilliant.
Yeah.
Now Witkoff went over there and he was fighting with some people, but he got the job done. Send that dude to Russia now. Send him to Russia and have him fix this, because this is not an easy thing. I think Trump's people told him when he actually started looking at it, they were like, dude, this is not easy. There's like 95 people making money off this.
Yeah, but
we got to figure out how to deal with this. It's not easy.
I think that Putin has already indicated that he's willing to talk to Trump. Mm-hmm. And he's indicated that he's willing to start the process. Slower than I expected, but it is what I expected, because all the signals, I think most people who don't follow politics a lot don't realize countries look for signal events.
Yeah.
For the Biden administration, it was the reaction to August 15th, 2021, how we reacted to the Taliban and their surge. that Biden was not prepared for, and then he ran away. That was his reaction, and that set off a series of dominoes that brought us to the world that we're in right now. Trump is now putting out signal flares that are showing the exact opposite. I thought that Russia would react faster, but I think they are reacting. I do think Scott, who is in charge of the negotiations in Qatar, will probably go over either officially or be back channel and talk to Russia. Yep. I think that Russia is looking for that out, at least temporarily. And I think Iran is also, they've already taken moves to secure themselves. They know sanctions are coming back. The signal flare has been put out there. So it isn't simple as I'm overstating it a bit, but we have to, because the conversation about Ukraine, international politics, literally can be days long. And trust me, I've done hours upon hours on this, on just as a single topic. So I am oversimplifying it a little bit. But I think that we are seeing that trend. We are seeing the signal flares have gone up. We have seen those. They have been recognized by other countries, and countries are starting the process. I'd like to see it go faster. I thought it would.
I agree with you. And this is my biggest worry. I said it months ago. My biggest worry is now they're actually fighting harder because they want to get as much as they can before they feel like they're trapped and they can't get out of some kind of peace talks.
Yeah.
Right. They're trying to, because they want to get as much as they can before they get trapped in the peace talks. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Garrett says 100%, Larry, especially with the establishment in foreign policy positions. Yep. Grace says it may not be peace treaty, but Harris could not have gotten those three hostages out. No. I agree. I do think the reason why we got hostages out is because of Trump's guy. I think Witkoff was the guy. And I think he went there very aggressively. He went there very forward. And I think that's how we got it out. So I agree with you. Yes. Cheyenne said, he also said the wars we avoid. True. I mean, I agree. I think we should be avoiding these wars completely. I'm on board. Like, I liked his anti-war stance, but my point was it ain't happening soon. This is a tough thing to do. So that part I was bothered.
To your point, I think a lot of people, and to an extent, like I admitted myself, even myself to some extent, have overestimated the speed some of these things will happen in. And we've seen certain things, like with Hamas, have happened very quickly. So that gives us more of a feeling, a inclination to say, well, Trump's going to get done super quick, which we wouldn't expect from anyone else. And that's partially because of his rhetoric. That's partially because he does have some successes that happen far faster than any other politician gets them done. But it is unrealistic to say, in retrospect and looking at it, it is unrealistic to say something like Ukraine is going to be done as quickly as I expect. I still think it's going to be done very quickly. I think they're trying to get something in place before the spring, because this affects the global food crisis that we've been in since 2022.
But
there's
Putin
30%
likes
less
that.
food in the world.
Putin's not unhappy with the food crisis. He's not unhappy about that.
But he
is more concerned about being able to have a massive summer offensive. Well, because right now, unless now this is my issue.
Yeah.
America can stop this, but this is hard. And this is why I'm going to say it's hard. And again, Trump knows this. For some insane reason, some European countries are tripling down on Ukraine, which seems insanely stupid, but they are. Like the French are doubling down. The British are even doubling down. What are you doing? The Brits are making like 100-year, whatever, stupid shit. They're doing crazy stuff, right? But the Germans are like, we're out. Like, we fought Russia before. We're done. Like, we're not doing this. We're done. Germans are out. The Poles are like, oh, do we really want this? The Poles are like now tiptoeing either way. They were talking, like, oh, we don't know anymore. So even they're like that. If Trump actually says, I'm out, so make a deal, I'm out. If he does that, we got a shot. The problem is if he doesn't do that, and Biden, of course, made things worse.
Yes, he did.
Right? Biden made things worse. He's forcing, this is the good and the bad for Trump right now. If Trump can't get this done this year, the Democrats are going to call it a failure for 2026, right? If he can't get it done.
Of course.
And that's what Biden was hoping.
Yes.
He was hoping he screwed up so bad that for Trump, that now even Trump can't fix it, right? That was his goal. I'll mess up Ukraine so bad that even Trump can't fix it. And then if Trump can't, 2026, Democrats are running that all day long. This is all his fault. Biden was about to fix it, but Trump ruined it. That'll be the entire story. However, though, here's the good part. If Trump actually gets both of these done, and people have said this, he might get a damn peace prize.
Well, he should. He already should have. He was already the Abraham Accords. He was nominated twice, but he's Trump, so they, of course, didn't give it to him. But and that's historical fact. What I see the carrot in this with the discussion about the Ukraine is if we can see the food come back online, that they're able to plant and grow the food, the carrot to this is that many of the sanctions that have been put against Russia will now be, or at least some of them will be lifted. They will have more international trade, not only for their oil, which is a big export, but because of the food that they will then be able to export. And the world is desperate for this food. There are nations that Madagascar is one of the nations. They are starving to death. They have been for the last 3 years. So this is something that's absolutely necessary. This will reintroduce Russia back into the world markets, which will improve their economy, and they will be in a more peacetime stance, which means they have less spending, better economic growth, more development, better for their people. There are carrots here that Trump can use, and I think he is going to use them. The question is, can he get them done before the spring? Anything after the spring, the left will take it as a failure, even though it won't be. But they'll say that so that they can get the advantage in 2026. It's the same reason why just before we saw that on Friday, Joe Biden declared, unilaterally declared that the 28th Amendment exists, the ERA amendment. It doesn't. It isn't real. That is a lie. It is a legal non-fact. There is no 28th Amendment. There never was a ERA amendment. But he said that so that when Trump says it doesn't exist for 2026, the Democrats can go, see, we told you Trump hates women.
Yes.
He stopped the 28th Amendment. He's a dictator and he hates women. And that's why you should vote for Democrats. That's why Biden said that. It has nothing to do with women. He doesn't give a damn. Because if he did, he would have said that on day one.
But I want to go back to something. And this part to me seems... it was odd. Again, another thing that was very special. It was the first time a president talked about, I don't know, like imperialism in like 70 years. I mean, it's like, this is not a thing. I mean, like, yeah, the Gulf of America, that one.
I love it.
Second, we're not done. He's gonna change the mountain, which right now is called
McKinley, Mount McKinley. That's
no, it's called Denali. I forgot what it's called now. Something Mali.
Denali.
Thank you. Right. It's called Denali right now. He's going to turn it back to Mount McKinley.
Yes.
And he's going to take the Panama Canal.
That one I'm a little iffy on.
I'm iffy on all three, but that's fine. I'm just saying.
No. Two of them are just changing names. Names change all the time.
Which is just virtue signaling, which you know I hate.
The left virtue signal to change the name in the first place. So we're just changing.
The left didn't call it the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh no, that I was talking about the mountain.
The left didn't change Mount McKinley. That was Native Americans who recognized that President McKinley never even set foot in fucking Alaska.
Don't care.
I know you don't, but they do. So what I'm saying is,
get over
it. Look, let the Alaskans call their mountain what the hell the Alaskans want to call their mountains. That's what I'm saying.
You know what? It was called Mount McKinley.
And they liked it to be called Denali. Let them call it what they want to call it.
That's the left. They're very vocal. I don't care. It's Mount McKinley.
Alaska doesn't have a left. Alaska's left is like our right. Alaska doesn't have a left compared to New York.
The decision wasn't made in Alaska.
Yes, it was. The Alaskans had to agree to it. Yes. There was a petition.
By Obama.
It was the Native Americans. It was the Native Americans who pushed that. It was the Native Americans in Alaska who pushed for it. So anyway, my point being, this stuff means nothing. I don't care if they call it Denali. I don't care if they call it Mount McKinley. Leave it alone. I don't care if you call it Gulf of Mexico. The left didn't call it Gulf of Mexico. That's what I
No,
don't know,
no,
whoever.
that's been, yeah, it's been a long time. It's the Gulf of Mexico, back when the
Yes.
Spanish had a lot of power.
There we go. So yes, who cares? I
It
don't
goes
care about
back
any
to
of
the
this.
Spaniards.
It's fine. But
But
he actually brought these two things up in his speech, which I'm saying, you
I
brought up
love it.
virtue signaling in your speech? No.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's meat for you conservative Republicans. It's silly for us libertarians. We don't care about that shit.
Yeah, but
It's
here's the
silly.
thing. Yes, it's silly. The Gulf of, whether you call it the Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico,
I don't
is
care.
silly. I mean, it's like
Yes.
saying, what's Japan's actual name? It's Nippon.
Nippon.
We call it Japan. On our maps, we have it as Japan.
Germany is
It's
not Germany, it's Deutschland.
It's Deutschland. And
Yes.
what is the Democratic Republic of Korea is North Korea. So, I mean, there's a lot of names that aren't the names that we call them on a regular basis. Call it the Gulf of America. No one's hurt. It doesn't mean anything. Panama is the one that we really need to focus on.
Yes.
Those other two is just a signal of America is strong and we're not going to back down because of some snowflake melting. Okay, fine. The real conversation there is Panama, which is somewhat deflected by those other two issues. Snowflakes are losing their minds and they're crying their tears because, you know, the mountain's got a new name. Ooh, big deal. Oh my God, this is the Gulf of America. It's imperialism. Whatever, shut up. But the serious thing is Panama. And no, we're not invading Greenland, which it's already been resolved. Greenland's prime minister came out and said, you know what? Trump got exactly what he wanted, to have a negotiation and discussion about the mineral rights, which is all it was ever about.
I spoke about it in my video. I spoke in my video. I never thought we were going to invade. It wasn't about that. It was about setting it up to be more anti-China, which it worked.
And so part of what Trump is saying in all of these conversations, and he's using the media very well, is he's letting their fear-mongering to overhype many of his positions so that he can get what he actually wants. No one wants Greenland, but we want the mineral rights. And in terms of Panama, we want a better deal for our ships traveling through the canal, especially our military ships. We want more priority. We want lower rates. And
so
if
you think we're not going to take it
over, he gets that.
So you think we're not? You think that's posturing? He's not going to get over. He's going to negotiate better rates.
I think that he will. Yeah, I think he's going to turn around. They're going to give him better rates, and he's going to turn around and go, you know, I'm going to give this to the left. They implored this on me. I listened to the American people. I negotiated, and because the left is telling me I can't do this, I'm going to, you know, they gave us a deal. I'll take the deal. Yeah.
If you're right, I'm okay with that. If that's what he's doing, because that's what he did in Greenland, and I knew that already.
Mm-hmm.
If he does that in Panama, I'm okay with it. If that's the deal, just get better deals, then fine. I don't, that's fine. I'll deal with that.
I think
my worry is he actually wants to physically either buy it or invade. That is my worry.
I think that's part of it's. Notice he used all three at the same time: Greenland, the Gulf of America, and Panama were all put out at the same time with the same hype. And the left fell right into it and went fearmonger. Oh my God, American empire. Oh, North American empire. It's, you know, what did they call it? Canada was renamed Can-America and Mex-America.
I like that. That's actually funny. That's good. Yes.
But that's all putting pressure on Panama to get, because what did he say? What was the motivation behind it all? We built it. We made an agreement with you. Panama, you backed out of the agreement, which is to give us better rates and better priority, especially our military. You're not doing that.
All right.
That was the core point.
I got to move on to this, though. I got to go further.
Okay.
He is now saying that Mexican cartels
are
now officially terrorist groups.
Yes.
This is not good.
It is very good. I'm very happy about that.
No, it isn't.
Why?
Why in the world do we want to now? All right. So now you're telling me this is going to authorize him to literally bomb Mexico.
No, not quite, but pretty close.
No, it does authorize him. Yes, he can drone strike Mexico now.
No. Just because they are.
Yes, he can.
No.
It's called Patriot Act. Yes, he can.
No, you cannot just bomb someone just because you declare them a terrorist. There's
Yes, you
more to
can.
it than that.
Obama started it, and Trump did it too. Yes, you
Well, no,
absolutely can.
There was more, and a lot of problems with Obama and his drone strikes on American citizens on foreign soil, which I did not forget about. Absolutely evil. Talk about
And he
violating the
bombed
Constitution.
non-Americans too. He bombed a lot of it. It was in the name Obama. We should have known. That guy bombed everybody. I
Yes, he
agree,
did.
Americans included. And
Okay.
all I'm saying is now, because of the Patriot Act, because of the Supreme Court saying president can do whatever he wants, now with those two things happening,
Can't.
he can literally bomb Mexico now. That
No,
is not a good thing.
No, because it's not. The cartels are not a sovereign nation, so we can't go
Doesn't
into
matter.
Mexico.
We bombed the
sovereign
Houthis.
nation. Huh?
We bombed the Houthis in Yemen, and that's a sovereign nation. Doesn't matter.
But they attacked us first. There are
The
criteria.
cartels are attacking us. Is what he just said.
No, he said they're terrorists. He didn't say they're attacking
He
us.
said no. His words are it's an invasion. That's his words.
No. The invasion is about immigration. That has you're conflating the 2 points. Immigration is and that's the reason why he's
talking about this.
Wait a minute. He said the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, which has been put in. By the way, I looked it up because nobody knows what that was.
I know everyone
had to look it up.
Yep,
I did.
I knew what it was because that was because of the Barbary pirates.
Yes. Well, also the war with France. But again, you have to look it up to find it. And by the way, I have the link for the congressional. It's still an act. It's actually a law still on the books. And I have the link to Congress with that bill because it was really interesting. But he was talking about immigration and the invasion, which is in reference to the Alien Enemies Act, which is separate of his declaration of the cartels as a terrorist group. Two separate things. And there is justification for calling the cartels, who are all about sex slavery. They're about drug peddling. They're about invading. Yes, they also invade America. They bring their gangs in. They interfere with our government and its operation. They endanger American citizens and kill them. So, yeah, the things that you need to qualify as a terrorist organization, the cartels, in fact, do.
Yet again, you are explaining why I'm right.
But you're not. And we're not going to bomb them. Why? This, again, what is the one thing the cartels have always been terrified of? Of the United States actually taking action against them. They can toss around Mexico all day long because the officials, they're terrified. The U.S. and the U.S. military isn't. And they have been terrified of getting the U.S. actively involved with them. They will tamp down, and you will see more stability in Mexico and all of the illegal aliens traveling through Mexico, and the amount of sex slavery will not go to zero, but the amount of sex slavery, the amount of drugs coming into America is
we're on YouTube. Watch out the words.
Sorry.
Yes, we're on YouTube. We gotta they tear us like children here.
I know, I know. And this is why I get suppressed so much on my channel.
Yes.
You're going to see those drop by a magnitude, the amount of these things that are happening because of the threat. Again, Trump uses the threat of the power far more than he actually does it.
I hope you're right.
Well, he did this in the first term.
But
in his first term, he did the same thing.
You and I had this conversation before. I said Trump usually starts hardcore and openly talks only about sticks. But behind the scenes, he's also got carrots. He uses both. He uses both to negotiate. That's why he gets shit done. He uses both sticks and carrots. He uses both. So I'm hoping you're right on both cases. You trust him more than I do. You're telling me that
I'm going by his history. His history, we've already had 4 years. We know what he tends to do. Mind you, he is willing to actually carry out many of the things that he says, but he never usually needs to, because everyone is terrified that he will, because he can. And
I hope
he has, and he has to some extent done some things. So I think you will see the cartels. This is their, again, the signal flare has been put up. We're fed up with this. They're going to pull back because it's a matter of self-preservation for them. They're going to pull back. That will help improve things for America and give some stability in Mexico and the rest of the world. That's
All
his
right.
big thing right now is
Let me grab some
stabilize
comments.
America.
Let me grab comments. Phil says, I could see Hamas and Israel both looking for peace to rearm. I agree. I think both sides could do it.
Probably.
I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense to me that they could do that. It makes a lot of sense to me.
That's what Iran is positioning them to be able to do right now.
So I'm looking at Instagram, and I think it's Shankron says golden age incoming. He says Trump's going to fix it all. And the Nomadic Coal says, I hope you're right, Dr. Shankron. As I said before, when it comes to the golden age piece, Shankran, I think he went too far. Mike doesn't think so. I think he went too far. I think he shouldn't have. He didn't say what you said, Mike. He didn't go, okay, look, this is a golden age going to start for like the next 50 years or whatever number he was thinking. And this is the beginning of that. He was like, it's tomorrow. He was like that. And I think he's going to pay for that one.
No, I think that's people because of his nature. And you and I talk very authoritatively. And very often we will say things that are a question or something that we want to have more debate on. And people who aren't used to authoritative speaking will back down and take it as, oh, that's a statement. That's something I can't challenge. Where if I'm saying it to you, you'll take it as a challenge and be like, no, I disagree. We get into the discussion. Same thing with Trump. He speaks in also a very authoritative manner. And very often people will take it as an absolute when it's not. And I think that's what we're seeing here. And it's because many politicians are so wishy-washy. They're so willing to flip-flop on everything and anything as long as it means they get reelected and maintain power, that their donors get more money, that we're not used to having people who are going to say things authoritatively.
Well,
which doesn't mean that they're which doesn't mean that they are that it's an absolute fact or that it's exactly as authoritative as we initially may think of. And I think we're seeing that, right? And again, I refer back to look at what Trump did in his first term. That is a lot of the basis of the things that I take positively. And I don't take it all positively, but the things that I take positively is because Trump, we have a history. We've seen what he has done and how he got it done. And I don't see anything that's changed. The fear-mongering has changed. The amount of fear-mongering has changed. But Trump and his policies have been very steadfast on the same direction. And he's given us a lot of clarity about what his end goal is. And we got that in the inauguration. And we got that in the executive orders that we saw today. So
no, I got to give him that. This guy, I mean, Trump, this is what I'm going to give him 100%. There's no way you can't. This guy is the best showman that we've had in, I don't know, since I'm around. I mean, close in the same world, but not as good as him as maybe Clinton was a decent showman. I think Reagan was a decent showman, but no one has matched Trump's showmanship. And the fact that he did those, first did his speech, and then right afterwards did the executive orders in front of that crowd. I mean, just brilliant move. I mean, just brilliant. I thought it was amazing. But I want to go to something else we talked about and then did, which is energy.
Oh, well, wait, before you go to energy, let me interject. Folks, I am sure that many of you are being very entertained right now. Although the ones who are livid with me, maybe not as much. But I'm sure there's a lot of people who are being very entertained right now. Please, if you like this, whether you agree with me or you're entertained or you're hating me right now and hate watching, whatever the reason, please do me a favor. Give my friend Larry Sharpe a like, a share. Most importantly, give him a subscription. Help him to break through the suppression that we now know for a fact was happening from the government. You know what? Help him. Give him subscription. Help him to get to 50,000 subscribers. We're not asking for the world. I'm not asking you to give him everything you've got. I'm not a progressive, so I'm not going to ask you for those kind of things. All I'm going to say is it's free. Click the subscribe.
Now, he's not wrong. And I will quote the Gladiator. Are you not entertained? I hope you are entertained. I hope you are. So, yes. All right. I kind of want to go to the energy piece. Because, again, this was something that again, I want to be clear. I know people are saying like I'm being too, whatever. I'm not upset about this. I'm just saying this was a big deal. He openly said he is going to get out of the Paris climate change agreement, and he did already. He said
Thank
that
God.
though,
Yeah.
and he said he's ending the Green New Deal. This again, I'm not against this. I want to be clear.
Yeah,
But this is a big deal.
It was great. It's not a big deal, but it's
It
great.
is. I mean, no, America has been moving towards this for decades. This is a serious shift in American policy. America has been moving towards this for decades.
Not
and
quite.
he has actually said, John, he didn't say, what I'm saying is most presidents, not him, most people be like, we're going to make a change or a shift. He's like, nope, done, out. And then did it today.
Yeah.
Like, that is a big deal.
Well, again, it's not that much of a big deal because one, Green New Deal is such a pipe dream. I am absolutely sure that AOC was on massive drugs when she wrote that, her and her staff. They did in one night. They wrote it up by hand on a single piece of paper. They were on massive drugs. So that's why it's not credible at all. If you read the Green New Deal, if you looked at the proposals and the summary sheet that was sent out with it, they were on massive drugs. It was never real. It's a pipe dream for the progressives. It's not even close to being functional. To say that we're not going to do that is just he's being straightforward with the American people. This was always a joke. It was never serious. Why are we wasting time and money on this?
Because it's massive left-wing virtue signaling.
Okay, but the left wing isn't America. And who cares about virtue signaling? Virtue signaling.
Lots of people do.
As you've said before, and I agree with, virtue signaling kills.
Yes.
Virtue signaling got, half of LA burned with, I don't know, what was it? 15,000 houses are burned away. 16 people died. That's virtue signaling. You know what? Yep. Screw the virtue signaling. Let's deal with the reality. And so he's focusing on the reality. The Green New Deal was never functional. It was never realistic. Throw that out. Not to say that clean energy is a bad thing. Renewable energy is something we can still work on that, but let's not throw out the bathwater. Let's not throw out the bath with the bathwater to do this. And his other part of that, which was
the Paris
Accords, are useless. America is the example that Paris is trying to get to. Well, America reduces more greenhouse gases. Well, people don't know this. America reduces more greenhouse gases than all of Europe plus all of England combined times 3. We are the example of greenhouse. It doesn't matter.
New York State has the least per capita emissions of any state.
Right.
And we're still doing stupid green shit. And we're already number 1 in the entire thing. So Christine's teasing you, says it's the baby with the bathwater, not the bath with bathwater.
Okay.
So yes.
Well, I like the baby. I'm not going to throw out the baby. I like the baby.
There we go. No, what I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing with anything you said, but what I'm saying is this is a serious change. Again, I'm not saying I'm unhappy with it. I'm just pointing out.
He's just pointing out
this is a change in what they've been doing for decades. He didn't say this his first time around
because he had to go for re-election. Because he had to go for re-election, and America.
My point exactly. This is a big deal, Mike. It's a big deal.
You know what? It's not. We're being treated like adults that have the ability to make decisions in our lives. We have agency. He's treating us like intelligent, grown Americans, as opposed to what other politicians do, which is coddle us like we're some dumb child and tell us to obey blindly, and they'll give us a piece of candy every time, which is usually some kind of check or government handout. And we get that all the time because they're treating us like children. He's treating us like adults. And that's why so many people are shocked, because they're not used to be treated like an adult, that they're being respected. And he's being honest with us. And that's why I love that this is exactly what we wanted from him, to treat us like adults, to give us respect, to be open and transparent.
It's funny you say that, because this is what Biden told us when he came. Remember what he said? Biden told us he was going to do that. Biden told us when he first came aboard, he's going to treat us like adults, tell us the truth, blah. Remember all that stuff he said? He said that when he first came aboard, did none of it.
Didn't make it past the first week with that.
No, didn't do anything, but he did say it. So now Trump comes in and does it, but doesn't say it. Like Trump is not saying that, he's just doing it. And this is my point. This is a big deal. This has not been done since maybe, I don't know, Carter? I don't even know. When's the last time someone was so honest with us? Nixon. I mean, it's just not a thing. Nixon, maybe? Actually, I don't know. I'm just
part of Nixon anyway.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying it's been a long time since someone has done this. That's my point. This is a big deal. And that's what I was bringing up.
Again, I don't think it's yes, it is a shock to the system to be treated as an adult and respected as being intelligent. Whether you agree or disagree, that's entirely separate of this.
Yep.
But while it's a shock to the system, it isn't a big deal because the things aren't, how do I word this? It's not earth shattering. If our politicians treated us like adults all the time, no one would blink an eye.
Right.
We'd have debates. I'm not saying that debates would end and we'd all agree. No, we'd still have discussions. We'd still have details we'd have to work on. And we'd still have the same process, but we wouldn't be amazed by this. Like the left, and look at the news media. They don't know how to handle this.
But they have been treating us like children. Too. If you watch Fox News, I know you don't, but I watch mainstream news. I watch CNN. I watch MSNBC. I watch Fox. Mainstream. I know you don't. But what I'm saying is, even Fox News is surprised on what he's saying because it is a big deal. They don't say this. Joel says it perfectly. He says most politicians have no respect for the people. Yes. It's accurate. Phil says it. Phil says Milei was honest and it worked. And they all were scared of Milei. Everybody was scared of him.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, he's like 100% Phil. Yes. Look, again, maybe you're taking it like I'm disagreeing with it. I'm not. I'm just saying that this is a big deal. This is not the norm. We have broken out of the norm. And why I say this is so important is because I'm hoping, my God, am I hoping that this becomes a precedent, that this becomes the norm. And I don't know if it will, because we have many years of this not being the norm. I hope it does become the norm. Left or right, I would respect the lefties if they would come out and go, no, I'm communist, and that's what I want. This is what I want. I want this to be this way and that way. Okay, you're open, you're honest, you're like an adult. You're going to tell me why it works or doesn't work, whatever. You're going to tell me. Okay, now we're having a real conversation versus trying to wrap it up in, I don't know, whatever else you're going to wrap it up in. Just come out and say it. I think that's better. Christine goes, yay, bye-bye norm. Christine, I'm with you, but I'm not sure we're there yet.
We're not there yet.
We are.
We're not there yet because you're seeing it already in the resistance from the mainstream news media, many of the talking heads. You got people like Joy Reid that are doing everything they can to keep people away from the facts, the news, the full context of what is being said. And as well as they're just trying to break up families. I mean, Joy Reid is evil. She's trying to break up people's families because they're not believing what she believes. I mean, I didn't forget what she said over Christmas. She's evil. So, and I have no problem saying that. And it's not because she's black. It's not because she's a woman. It's because she's an evil person. Listen to what she said.
No, I'm with you. I'm not fighting you on this. I'm not fighting you. All right. Here's the part that did bother me, though.
Yeah.
This, again, I got something. I'm not happy with everything he said. You know that. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I didn't like is he's adding a new service, the ERS, the External Revenue Service, which is supposed to collect the tariff money.
Yeah.
Not happy about that.
Well,
if you're gonna collect the tariff money, I have an idea. He did something good today, which he did. One of his executive orders was no more hiring of IRS agents to go get us. Good. I have a better idea. Instead of starting an ERS, have the IRS assholes go get that money.
Well, he froze all hiring. Actually, he froze all hiring by the federal government for at least the next 45 days, unless there is an essential need for that individual, with the exception for the IRS. No matter what their problem is, they can't hire anyone. That's what he said. That's his executive order that came out today, which I thought was great. I think, I'm not sure. I don't know enough about that program to really say, is it a good or bad idea? I mean, like with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, that has a built-in drop dead date. We know what that date is. It's June 6th of 2026. We know that for a fact. Is this new program going to have a drop dead date or a drop dead condition that if he doesn't exercise? Well, we don't know. We don't have the details on it. So I can't definitively say. I don't like the concept of having another department of the government.
Correct.
Because that's usually a bad thing.
Yep.
But I have to believe there must be some other catch to it, because at the same time that he's putting that in, he's also creating the DOGE to reduce the size of government. So there's something else he's getting rid of. I would believe that as we get the details, there'll be some stipulation to end it or to revamp it.
You trust him too much. James says the External Revenue Service is the first time I heard of this. Maybe Trump's doing it for the collective greater good of the country. Boo!
Pretty much today was the first day he ever mentioned it.
Yes. Yes. And that's how I was like, what? That immediate, my libertarian ire went right up when I heard new government program. I was like,
but again,
immediately.
Your ire went up when you heard about DOGE. And I said, wait. What is this? We need more details. And now you're not that against it. And neither am I. So I need more details about this External Revenue Service, because most of the countries he said he's going to put a tariff on, most of them have a condition built into that, whether or not we get that tariff. Now, China is definitely going to get a tariff. Absolutely. But that's to make people buy American, which is long-term good for America, and it will help rebuild America. So I understand that.
We'll see.
It all depends on the details.
Ryan's with me on this. He goes, agree with Larry on the External Revenue Service. Yeah, not happy about that one. That I was like, nope. That you lost me on that one, DJT. You lost me on that one. But yeah, that one I was unhappy about for sure. I did not like that one at all. I do want to bring up this tariff idea. Oh, by the way, I found the quote. The quote is, "The impossible is what we do best." That was his quote about America. Okay. The impossible is what we do best.
I like that.
That was a great quote.
Yes.
That was great. I got to give him that one. So yes, I do like that one. Grace goes on to say, ERS, want to hear what the doctors Paul say. With you on ERS. Yeah. See, all libertarians watching, Mike, they're like, ERS. No. Yes, absolutely.
Again, I can't make an opinion about it because all I know is the title. I don't know I need more.
So I think that's kind of what I had when it comes to his actual speech. Did I miss something we should be talking about, or do you want to head on to his executive orders?
Well, one of the things I thought was really impressive is, if people haven't noticed, go back, watch the speech from 12:09 on. So there's about a good 25 minutes of the speech from that point. And if you're looking from 12:09 on, just look on the right-hand lower corner. You can see very clearly in many of the shots, Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton, as well as President Bill Clinton, Joe Biden. You can see those four very clearly multiple times. Kamala was the most angry, bitter person. I mean, nobody, even none of the Democrats were as bitter and angry throughout the entire speech as Kamala. Hillary was close. She was having a lot of comments. Oh yeah, you could also see President G.W. Bush in the background for parts of it as well. And he was kind of like smirking halfway through, had a little bit of a conversation with his wife. He wasn't having such a bad time. Clinton, Bill, was mostly nonplussed throughout the whole thing. Was kind of like just lackadaisical, just hanging out. Hillary was talking up the storm.
Bill Clinton was looking at who his next girlfri's going to be. He was looking at the crowd, go, ooh, that one's nice. What about that one? I might go with her. That's what Clinton was doing.
Hillary's trying to go, see, and if they just voted me in, none of this would be happening right now, Bill.
I could have beat him. She's like, I could have beat him. That's what she was saying. I could have beat him.
And Kamala was just all about the daggers. Like, I just hate you. I just hate you. I just hate you.
Oh, yes.
I should have won. I wanted it.
All right. Let me grab some of these. Comments. Some guys, people are on your side on this one here with the cartels. The cartels are tyrants.
Yes.
Drug cartels are in fact terrorists.
Yes.
Grace Warren, Mexican cartels, great.
Yes.
Mike says the cartels are a terrorist threat. They use fear, murder, torture to get results. I think they fit the definition.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys are all wrong. I'm just telling you.
No,
I can't. You're all wrong, and you're wrong for one important reason. We don't want to be bombing more people.
We don't have to bomb them.
If Mike is correct, and I'm going to call him on this a year from now, I'm going to have him on again a year from now, and if he's right, and we don't bomb anybody, and this was a good scare, and all of a sudden now the cartels get better, I will eat crow and I will say, well done, Mike.
Okay.
I don't think that.
Okay.
I think we're going to screw up and we're going to start bombing and make shit worse.
No.
That's what is going to happen.
No, let me clarify my position. So since we're making this prediction, there will be at least one cartel. Yeah, they're going to be bombed out of existence. Absolutely. At least one. They are going to be the example. We're going to devastate them. They're going to be gone from the face of the earth to make the point. And then you will see the rest of the cartels fall right in line. And I don't care what they do in Mexico.
Okay.
That's Mexico's problem. But the problem for America will be substantially reduced. And they're not going to be doing the stupid crap that they're doing right now to Americans, both in Mexico, around the world, and also in our country, especially the borders.
We're gonna have this conversation a year from now.
There will be
one wrong.
Gone. One of the cartels is gone.
And I think whatever happens, if he bombs anybody, if one bomb drops, shit will get worse.
No,
that's what I think, 100%. But okay, we'll find out. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna find out.
Okay.
Phil says we know they're terrorists because President Obama sold them guns. True. Accurate statement, Phil.
Very true.
That's accurate. That's true. Christine says Obama in chief. Also accurate. Accurate. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, no. The other thing that people are bringing up here, though, is what Juan says. What I really want Trump to do is free Ross to keep the pledge. This I haven't heard yet. I said I'm going to give him another day. I'm going to give him till tomorrow to do the things he said he was going to do. Free Ross. I hope he's going to pardon Ross, or at least commute, if not pardon. I'll take commuting.
Wasn't that the guy who got convicted of like a couple of crimes? And more importantly, he was part of a deal that Trump tried to make with the Libertarian Party and said, if you support me, I'm going to release one of your guys and put one of your people in the cabinet, or at least that he would strongly consider those things. And libertarians said, screw you, middle finger.
That is not true at all. Nope, you're completely incorrect. Literally, at least.
That isn't what the libertarians did to Donald Trump at the Libertarian
Let me tell you what
Convention?
actually happened. Let me tell you what actually happened. Yes, they booed him, correct. However, when November came, at least 500,000 libertarians voted for Trump. At least. And that's a lot.
No.
And they support. No, I'm not done. He supported. No. He made the deal afterwards with Angela McArdle. It is documented. After the convention, he made the deal. He was going to put a libertarian in, and he was going to free Ross. He made that deal after the convention.
I am unaware of the deal after the convention. I'm only aware of the deal.
All you have to do is Google Trump and Angela McArdle. They made that deal. I'm sorry. She says they made that deal. That's what I will say. That's what she says.
Okay.
I'm hoping it happened. I'm hoping that.
The libertarian politics far more than I do. I do follow it, but not that much. I'm not familiar with Angela McArdle making that statement. And if she's saying that, and that is correct, then I stand corrected. To my knowledge, the only deal that was made was on that stage at the Libertarian Convention, and the libertarians on that stage gave him the middle finger and said, no, we're going to go with Chase Oliver because he's so great and so leftist. We're going to get all the votes. And they got 0.5%.
I'm with you. You know, I didn't want, you know who I wanted. So yeah,
I know.
You're about to get me triggered. I'm not
going to trigger you. I already got triggered.
Almost triggered me. I'm gonna walk away from this, not be triggered.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on what James says. I want Trump to free Ross, free Snowden, drop the convictions against Julian Assange, because none of them got justice, but I have my doubts. I'm not sure he's going to either, but I agree with you. I hope he does all three of them. but I don't know what he's going to
Not
do.
so
I hope he does all three.
Not so
I would,
much.
to be forward, I would take any of them. I would take any of them, but I'm with you, James. I want all three. I would take any because Biden clearly did it and would do none. So I get none with Biden Harris. If I get one with Trump, I'm happy. I'd like all three though. So yes.
I have a problem with people who endangered American citizens and our agencies around the world giving away our secrets that may have harmed and did in fact harm American citizens and operations around the world. I have some problems with that.
Snowden or Assange?
More so Snowden than Assange.
Absolute garbage. Nobody died from that at all. And what letting out what the government knew was far more important. What you're basically saying is, I'm mad because some guy let people know what crimes my government was doing in my name.
No, I don't mind.
And then the criminals that were doing the work, they might have gotten in trouble. I'm not mad about that at all.
I'm not upset about that. I am upset that there were certain, and maybe I'm thinking of Assange instead of Snowden. I get those two mixed up a lot about what secrets they gave away. But I do know that several of the secrets that were released did impact U.S. ability to have international transactions. International policy was affected by this. Several operations were affected. There were American agents, many of them in the intelligence fields, were affected, endangered. Some lives were hurt. So yeah, I have a problem with that. There was a problem there.
Government was doing illegal shit and hiding it. I don't care. Don't care.
Every government does something. Every government does something.
Yes, and that's not good. Correct.
The world is the world. There are certain. You know what? I would love to be a purist. I'm not. I'm a realist.
We're nowhere near pure. I'm not saying that. But if we're going to be doing stuff that's affecting American citizens, and it's what he showed, we are spying. He was telling us they were spying on American citizens. That's what he showed.
That was fine to reveal. I have no problem with that. That's not, again, I was talking about the international. There were,
but
and I
he
forget
didn't
whether it
do
was
that.
Assange or
Okay,
Snowden.
this is the part we don't get. Snowden didn't do that. What Snowden did was say what was going on to the media, and he left. It was the media decided what to put out, not him. So if you be mad at somebody, be mad at the media if you think that's true. Not him.
Well,
he
I'm mad
didn't
at
put
the
it
media
out
for a lot of things. But again,
yes, but he didn't put it out.
Okay.
He gave it to the media. He said, media, do as you wish, do the right thing. I'm leaving because they about to arrest me.
Okay. Again, I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've dealt with either of those two. And I don't remember if I'm upset with Assange or if it's Snowden. I'm probably mixing them up right now and mixing up their cases at this point because it's been so long. I think most Americans are confused about what each of them individually did. So I don't think I'm alone in this. But I do recall that, and again, I don't know which one it was. My concern was the revealing of military and intelligence secrets that affected the ability of Americans to be protected around the world. I had a deep problem with that. I still have a deep problem with that. And whether it was Assange or Snowden, whichever of them did it, that's the one I'm pissed off at. And that's the one I think that we need to have some recompense. And you can make the argument that it's been so many years that because they've been in isolation, they've suffered. You can make that argument. I don't know if I buy it, but I'm not going to give them a free pass.
Okay. I wouldn't only give Snowden a free pass. If I was president tomorrow, I would literally give him the Medal of Freedom.
And
I would literally give him the Medal of Freedom. You would, but I would still give him the Medal of Freedom. That's how much I think Snowden's amazing. Anyway, okay. Robert says, I agree with Larry. Defining an area, a terrorist region could allow a president to order military operations to murder said terrorists in a set area without a trial. Yes. See this? So they're not all on your side. I got a couple on my side, Mike. I got a couple on my side.
I'm surprised I got as many on my side for as long as I have.
I got a couple of them, so that's okay.
With your audience, like I'm surprised yes. So many are with a couple.
Me. Absolutely, absolutely. Colini says, "Liberation today, golden age tomorrow." Sounds about right. Look, I hope that's true. I'm not against it, but it's like Elon Musk showing up and saying, "I'm going to cut $2 trillion out of the budget." Look, I hope he does. I just don't believe he will. If he gives me $1 trillion, I would be happy. If he gave me $1 trillion, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be telling you, saying Elon Musk the greatest guy in the world if he can do it. Two trillion. Now you got to match 2 trillion. I don't know how you do that. And that's my point. I feel like sometimes they just go too far, right? They promise something that they just can't deliver. And that drives me crazy.
But
So
Trump has a history of actually giving us more often, about 75% of what he's promised us in the past, he did. That's his record.
okay.
It's a pretty damn good record.
I'm just okay. Look, if he does it, I will be very happy. I'm just very skeptical. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Henge says it's Nixon. He said, you said Nixon. He says Nixon. He goes, Trump is the most honest president since Nixon.
Yeah.
He's more transparent than I can't remember a more transparent.
No, not in our lifetime.
I can't remember one.
Not in our lifetime.
I can't remember one. So yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly my point. That's why I think it's such a big deal. I don't see many being that way. In fact, I don't see most politicians being that way.
Oh,
right?
I agree. Yeah.
I don't see most at all.
We both know many politicians at every level of government in many states and the federal government as well.
Yes.
I am hard pressed, other than politicians, a handful of politicians I personally know. And literally that's like, I can count them on one hand, that are absolutely transparent, and pretty much no one else is.
Yes. Yes. Cheyenne says, Larry, the grifters will never be honest. This will just be a break for them. Well, but here's the thing about grifters, Cheyenne. Grifters go wherever the grifting's good. So if you make it to where the grifting's hard in certain areas, they will leave, right? They'll go to the place wherever they can grift, right? Why are so many people moving to the DC area, right? Why is Northern Virginia now the most expensive area to live in right now? Why is it growing the fastest, right? Why is that happening? It's not happening in Maryland, growing. Why? It's not because it's just beautiful. It's always been beautiful. That area's always been nice. That has been changed. But that's where you grift. DC is grift central now. That's what it is. If you end that, they won't live there anymore. They'll go to wherever the other grift is. And I always say decentralization is the best answer, because then it becomes harder to grift. So if I can just grift in DC and get all 50 states worth of grift, easy. But if I go to each state capital to grift, it's harder to grift, which means you'll have less grifters, or they'll grift something. They'll go to Ukraine and grift. It's easy to grift in Ukraine. So they'll go to Ukraine and grift, right?
Yeah.
They'll go there, right? They'll go wherever they can to grift. Grifters go wherever they want. So I do think making it harder to grift does have value. To your point, it's not going to go away. And Mike even said it. It's not going to go away.
No.
But can you lessen it? I think you can.
Yeah.
I think you can.
If we can get back to the level of grift of, say, hell, I'll even go to, say, Reagan, which was an expansion of the grift, to be fair. And I loved Reagan. I thought he was a good president. He had a lot of policies that long-term were very good for America. But the grift did increase under him. That's a fact. One goes with the other. But the amount of grift we had then versus today is insane. I mean, just floodgates are wide open. So yeah, I'd love to see it pull back. Something we should also bring up that came out of the speech today, for all those feminists out there, all the members of National Organization of Women, members of the intersectional persuasion, nut jobs who are shaving their heads bald and dyeing it blue and all that, and on blue sky, for all those fun people, they should be very happy that Donald Trump has stopped the gender affirmation, the blind affirmation of gender, and has defined the sexes as male and female, because he's protecting Title IX, which I know these feminists are very much, they want to protect Title IX. It's so important. Women in sports, women have to be protected and supported and elevated and believed at every single turn and blah, blah, blah. And having two genders does that. If you want to have women who don't have to worry about some guy going into their spa, as happened in LA, you don't have young women assaulted in high schools.
Okay, this is not what we talked. Let's stay on target. I know you
Well,
want to go
that's what he
yell
said. That was the
at
definition of male and female. This
yes.
is good for women. And
Well,
they're
we
going to tell
covered
you
that
that
already.
he hates women, but this is actually positive for women. It's just not worded that way by the mainstream news media. But the second you think about it and go, hey, what is the follow-on consequence? Women are
All
going to
right.
be better off.
I didn't realize I had to reboot my Rumble because I couldn't read what was happening. I thought nobody was commenting. I just rebooted my Rumble and I found Straight End says, $2. Thank you for that. He says, afuera, it will work out. Ask Malay, he knows. I hope you're right, Straight End. Look, I hope the cuts will work. I'm skeptical, but look, if I'm wrong, I'm happy. Like, me being wrong is not a bad thing here, right? I hope I'm wrong. I hope next year Mike comes on and it's an hour of him saying, "I told you so."
I don't think
Like,
we have to wait that long. I mean, we already have, as I said, about 80 executive orders, which I'm not a fan of executive orders. I said that about Obama. I said that about Trump the first time. I said it about Biden when he came in. I'm not a fan of all these executive orders. And Trump, we first heard he was going to have 100 executive orders. Then now we're hearing it's going to be 200.
yep.
The context of that is, at least right now, the overwhelming majority of the executive orders are rescinding a previous the executive orders of Biden. So he's actually kind of getting rid of the executive orders. He's actually kind of doing what I would like to see, is get less executive orders out there. So I'm kind of
We'll
a
see
little
how that
torn on that.
works.
Huh?
Let me grab some more if I could on
Comments,
Rumble because
yeah.
I missed a bunch.
Oh,
Straight
yeah.
End says, let the Alaskans call the mountain what they want. I agree. I don't care what they call it. Call whatever you want. Redo the ERA. And if 38 states agree, make it the 28th. What's the problem? I agree. If you got an amendment, put it out there. If the states agree, it's fine. They don't, they don't. I don't think they're going to buy it. I think this is the worst. If I'm a proponent of the ERA, I'm not putting it out now. Now's the worst time. It is never passing now.
Well, it didn't pass actually because it was actually 36 of the states have rescinded their approval.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't put it out now if I was them. I would just let it go. I'd wait because now is not time, but that's not passing now.
Yeah, it's never going to pass. It's never going to pass. And
you never know. 100 years from now, Mike, you never know.
Unless we want to dehumanize women. I mean, if you don't believe women are human beings, go for the ERA. But otherwise, get rid of it.
We might want to. He goes on to say, I was hoping the Doge will be temporary and the External Revenue Service. We don't need another government agency. I hope that's true too, right? Now, also Straight End goes on one more thing. He says, if the cartels are bad, he says that they're killing 300,000 of us per year, is what he said. We can now declare war on them. And that has always been my point, which is why I can't stand the Patriot Act. You do not have to declare war on a country. We've done it before. We can declare war on individuals, groups. We can do it. We've done it before. Mm-hmm. If that's a problem, just declare war on the cartels. Name them, declare war. You do that, okay. That means now the Congress is saying we are prepared to send young men to die to fight the cartels because they're that important to our country. And if they say that, I'm okay. Take responsibility, Congress. Stop making the president responsible for this shit. The Congress is supposed to be responsible for this. Take your responsibility. Declare war like the Constitution said so.
Yeah, but Larry, this is part of that process. The first thing is to identify the problem and to identify the nature of the problem. The problem is the cartel, and the nature of the problem is that they are harming American citizens disproportionately.
Yes, however, once you say that, what you're supposed to do is then ask for a declaration of war from Congress. That's the part he's not going to do.
You don't know that. We haven't gotten to that.
Yes, I do. Yes, I know that. None of them do. We haven't declared war.
Wait a minute. Trump does things
1942.
No,
we don't declare war anymore.
Wait a minute. We've already established very clearly Trump does things that either hasn't been done in 50 years or have never been done before versus other presidents. So to say that, he's never going to go and ask Congress to go after the cartels, we can't say that. And more importantly, Trump has been very effective at not starting new wars and avoiding wars and de-escalating nations that hate our
I hope
guts.
you're right. I hope
So,
you're right.
yeah.
That's all I can say. I hope you're right. I do. That liberal lady says, our LP chair is sucking his ASS. Don't you know MAGA McCardle is the kingmaker? And see, I wasn't making that up, Mike. I wasn't making that up. Even the liberal lady knows it's true. Yes, it's true.
You know your party far better than I do.
So they made the deal. So far, I have not seen the deal. I'm going to give him another day because, look, lots of what's going on. I know the Libertarian Party is not his number one priority. I get that. I didn't expect it to be, so I'm not fooling myself. But day 2, day 3, you should be doing something if you're going to deal with your deal.
Maybe after day 30, maybe day 45. A lot of the executive orders he is putting out, a lot of the changes to get rid of DEI and to get rid of some of these other programs, mostly DEI and the climate change crap. He's getting rid of all that, and he has reports coming in most of them are 45 or 90 days that he's going to get reports back how they're fixing the government and spending less money and becoming more efficient and more effective, which is brilliant. So getting to the libertarians may come somewhere around day 45, day 100. And you'll still be happy if he does it. You'll be ecstatic because no one else will do it at all.
You're right. It's true. Look, if I get any of those 3, I'm going to be happy with you. I think you're right. So Tony says, let's wait and see what happens when we judge. Now everything needs a reaction right away. I agree. And I said with Malay, people were attacking me in Malay immediately when he got. And I said, nope, give me 1 year and then I'll go back and talk about it. And I did. And I gave a whole show a year later on Malay. And I think it's an overall success. He's got some failures and things didn't go perfectly at all, but I knew they wouldn't. But I think if you put the pluses and minuses, Malay is absolutely a positive for Argentina compared to what was before.
Oh, yeah.
The overall is positive.
He's only at what? Their monthly inflation is only 20%. I mean, that's astounding.
It was 200%.
Exactly. People don't realize it's like
it's
90% down from what it was. He's doing a phenomenal job.
Overall, he's winning. I hope next year Trump's winning. I'm being very clear. All I'm saying is I like a lot of stuff he said. I liked what he had to say. I'm saying some things that I'm saying that I think are shocking. Again, I'm not against them, but I'm saying I think they are shocking. People didn't used to say these things. Now he's saying them. I'm hoping this is a precedent that others will follow. And I think we saw it with Elon Musk. Elon Musk was a precedent that right behind him became Zuckerberg, Bezos. They all got right behind Elon. Elon was the first guy up front who says, I don't care. You can try to cancel me if you want to. I don't give a shit. He said that. And they were like, oh, wait a minute. We can do that. If you watch Zuckerberg talk, Zuckerberg was actually afraid of the government. He was honestly afraid. Yes, doesn't matter. It's still true. So he's a coward. Lots of people are cowards. A lot of people are scared of the government. A lot of people are. I have watched the government personally destroy people. Yeah. I have been in the courtroom when it has literally wrecked people's lives with not giving a shit, just destroying people.
Billionaires in charge of one of the keys of social media.
Yes, but when you're a 30-year-old guy who's on the spectrum who doesn't understand government, sure, you're a coward when it comes to government. I'm not saying
that I can understand. That I can understand.
My point is, now he shifted, and people are saying, "Oh, is he all of a sudden a free speech guy?" No, he's not afraid anymore. That's all. He's just not afraid anymore. He's no longer afraid. That's the only difference. Zuckerberg doesn't care either way. He just doesn't want to go to jail and have his company destroyed.
Selfish.
It's fine. I accept that. Fine, but he's moved. I think.
Yes, he has.
I think a lot of people followed Musk on this one. I'm hoping people will follow the openness and even the brashness that I often don't like about Trump. But if I had a choice of the brashness versus the lying, I will take the brashness. I'd rather have honesty without all the brashness, but I'll take it, right? If I got to decide which one, I'll take it. And I want more people to take it.
I think that's one of his biggest problems. And people said this a lot. In fact, I've said it as well in the past, that people were upset that Trump had mean tweets. And a lot of people it's because we've been coddled by so many presidents and so much of the news media.
Yes.
And people aren't used to it.
Correct.
We've had many. Trump is not the most bullheaded or brash president we have ever had, not by a long shot.
Yep.
And we've had people like, I mean, have people actually listened to what President Johnson said? The things
Johnson
he
was a
saying
monster.
publicly?
He was a monster. Yes,
Absolutely
100%.
a monster.
Yes.
And he wasn't even the worst. He's
Yep.
just one of the more recent ones.
Yes.
People are, we need, again, I think the thing that one of the great things about what Trump is doing, regardless of, again, everything I've said about Trump has nothing to do with whether you like him or not, because it doesn't matter if you like a president or not. That's not a factor. What is a factor is, are they efficient? Are they effective? That's what a president is. Whether you like him or not, who cares?
That's how people vote. They vote on feels.
Sadly, and that's because people are stupid. They've been convinced to be stupid. Doing things emotionally is a failure, especially when it comes to politics. And we're finally being treated like adults. And being an adult means that not everything's going to be coddled. It's not going to be nice. It's not going to be warm and fuzzy and make you feel good. It's about doing what's effective and efficient, which sometimes is very harsh and very unpleasant, but it's necessary, especially if you have a long-term view of things. And I think that's what we're getting out of Trump. And I think that's why he's so effective and why he's well respected and also feared. And fear is a very good thing for an American president when dealing with international politics, and so also somewhat in domestic as well.
Let me move on a couple more of these if I could. Robert says Doge is an advisory group. They're playing those around. The executive branch gets advisory from a lot of groups. Correct. Those will probably get more clout than others because of Musk's involvement, but it's not funded by the government. And that I'm okay with. But Robert and I, we're both libertarians. We'll go with that, right? If I'm not writing a check, it's I'm good. I'm not. Yeah, I'm good 100%. Yes. Ryan says, it looked to me like Bill Clinton was really into Carrie Underwood. That's his type. That's his type. But I don't think Carrie is going to want Bill. But I'm sure Bill wants Carrie.
You know what?
I'm
we
sure
got to
he
give her
does.
props. Carrie Underwood did a great job because the music failed. And that was, and I was like, oh my God, they're going to blow it with Carrie Underwood singing because the music's all scrapped. And she just went a cappella.
Yeah.
And I thought,
absolutely,
the way she did that, she did it both gracefully and she was prepared and sang beautifully. And she also got the crowd involved.
But she's talented. She's a talented person. She's talented.
She's talented, and it came across that she was that talent, that ability, and also the presence of mind to just, you know what, screw this. They're screwing up the moment. Let me take it in my hands and go. And I thought she saved it. That could have been really embarrassing, and it was about to be. And she really saved that. I thought that was
Christine says
commendable.
Yes, the ex-losers, that was priceless. So Christine's with you, Mike. She enjoyed that too. Yes, absolutely. Mike says, what if we use special forces instead of bombs? Okay, I'll give you 2 points. If we actually send troops on the ground into Mexico and we don't declare war on the cartels and we just do it because Trump orders it, that is a terrible idea. If we're going to send troops, look, we shouldn't do anything else unless Congress takes responsibility. They're supposed to be responsible for it, and they never are. So no matter what, Congress take responsibility no matter what. But if we do that, now we're risking leaving a body in Mexico. That is a huge risk. Special forces are awesome, but that's a big risk. Things go south, things go bad. We got to pull guys out. God, I hope that's not Mike.
That's a massive international incident.
Correct. If we're going to do anything, I hope we go with the droning and the bombing. If we do, I don't want to do that even, but if we're going to do something, I do not want boots on the ground unless we literally say we are declaring war on the cartels and we are asking Mexico to join us in this war.
And they give them permission to cross the border and come in.
That's what I would love.
Yeah.
But if they say no, at least we've declared war and we have openly asked diplomatically, hey, we're at war with this group. Mexico, will you allow us to come in? If they say no, then we got to have a diplomatic issue with Mexico. But at least we go through the route. We show Mexico respect. We do the war, the declaration of war. I know you might say, Larry, that's all like pomp and circumstance. Diplomacy is heavily about that.
Yeah. It's important, and it makes a difference. Again, signal flares to the rest of the world.
Yes.
It is important for that reason alone. I don't disagree with you, but I think he'll do it. I think
I hope you're right.
I think he will. What will probably happen is he will ask the Congress. The Congress will waffle on this and do nothing. and he has the War Powers Act. Once he declares that this is an act of war, or that he wants it to be declared an act of war, he can use the War Powers Act for 30 days to go in and take action. Now, in that declaration, he can also make a request from Mexico for support and have them as advisors to the Mexican forces, kind of like we were advisors in Vietnam.
Yep.
And like we have advisors into Ukraine right now. We could do it that way, and that is legal and it is acceptable internationally. And it allows us to get the job done while allowing a lot of people to save face and allowing and understanding that our Congress is inept on multiple levels, especially when it comes to something like this.
Absolutely.
So that's another way it could be done, and that's probably the way it will be done.
So I look over at Instagram, and at Yarb says Carrie was phenomenal. Agreed. She's a professional. She's good at what she does, and it showed. Yeah, 100%. Yes to all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Andrea says, at least you can blame Mike for triggering me today. That's true. That's one thing. Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm blaming Larry for triggering me.
There we go. Yes, I actually triggered Mike today. Yes. Ryan says Mike is wrong on Snowden. Correct. Mike is wrong on Snowden. Correct. I'm glad someone's on page with this one. That's good. Absolutely. That's good.
How do you feel about the go ahead, read the comments, but once we get done with that, I want to know, what do you think about the 1798 Alien Enemies Act? But let's go through the comments.
All right.
Maybe there's a question on that. I don't know.
Okay. Search and Story says, oh, sorry, wrong. This is Philip. He says, we've trained Mexican soldiers before, and some of them found the cartels paid better. We're always training our next enemy. Also true. But again, if we're going to do this, I think to Mike's point, the outside signaling matters. It does. You have to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. And that's the issue. Otherwise, we have a problem. I do think that matters. Tony says, Mexico and USA work together covertly and fix the problem. I hope you're right, Matt. That has not happened in the past. In the past, Mexico has failed to do their part. That's what has happened in the past. I hope you're right, but I don't see it. I think it's going to be Americans, and I think Mike's right. It'll be Mexican advisors. I don't see the Mexican military doing this. I could be wrong, but I don't.
We've never had as strong a president with as strong a purpose.
Grace says, we don't need a Black Hawk down in Mexico. Correct. True. That is exactly my worry. True. Grace, you read my mind. Yes, absolutely. Ooh, Phil. Okay. Phil's got, okay, here he goes. Phil's like we do in Africa, like we have in Colombia, like we did in Nicaragua. Yes, yes, and yes. Thank you. Exactly my problem. Like in the Philippines.
Some successes out of some of that.
He says, I have more enforcement. I know you have too many, Phil. I'm with you.
Not all of them are failures.
Well, if you're a military industrial complex, no, but for us, yes.
No. The world is more stable now in many ways because some of the things we do not so quietly.
Phil says Bill was in the Kamala. That's you can do that too. That's my Kamala might give him a little something. Kamala likes powerful men. I mean, you never know. I mean, that could be, maybe that's it.
It's kind of Bill's type.
Yeah, maybe. So
scary.
Ryan says, I agree with Mike on stupid people. There we go. Let me get a super chat here. Yeah. Duke of Heck says $5. Does war with Mexico mean internment camps for 40 million Mexicans plus millions of illegals in the U.S.?
They hope
no,
so.
Remember, the war is not with Mexico, Duke of Heck. There's an exception, right? The war is, we've done it before, and we should have done it in the past, and we didn't. In other words, we should have declared war against Al-Qaeda. That's what we should have done. We didn't do it. We just gave a way to go into Afghanistan, and that was a bad idea. We should have declared war against them. So we had a reason, the purpose to destroy, to get them. We didn't. This would be a declaration of war against the cartels, not against Mexico. In theory, Mexico could help us. What we should have had a way, again, this would have been better for us in general. If we had declared war against Al-Qaeda, we then could have asked the Afghanis to assist us in the war against Al-Qaeda. We didn't do that. We made it to where the Afghanis were like, no, come fight us, bro. And they wound up winning. So we didn't do it the right way. We should have done that the right way. And in Mexico, the war would not be against Mexico. It would be against the cartels, and we would ask the Mexicans to assist us in our war. That's how that would work. So I don't think that means internment camps. Maybe for cartel members, you'd have that, which would be fine. They'd be POWs. So to be totally, oh, I'm sorry, now you don't call POWs anymore. You call them EPWs now. Sorry. Got to be proper with it now.
Whatever.
So you got to call them EPWs. So
No,
they'd be EPWs. So yes.
Look, the Mexican people would love for the United States to take over Mexico, and they'd be able to get all of our resources, all of our money, all of our infrastructure. They would love it. And also all of our government. They would love it. It would be an upgrade for them. And I don't care if you love Mexico or not, whether you love America or not. The fact is, this would be if we did invade Mexico and we took over Mexico, manifest destiny of the past of the United States, it would be an upgrade for them, and they would be happy about it. But I don't want that. I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it's a good investment for the United States. I don't think Trump thinks that either. But yeah,
no, this is terrible. Manifest destiny. No, God, we got imperialism.
I didn't say. Look, I have no problem. America's an empire.
True, and I'm not happy about that.
Long live the empire. Long live the American empire. I have no problem with that.
I will quote Mr. Spock from Mirror Mirror when there were two different universes, and in one universe, the Federation was the empire. And Kirk was selling him, this can't work. And Spock says to him, Terra must be maintained or the empire will fall. Yes, I don't like that idea. And
I love that Kirk said, hold on.
And then Kirk goes on to say, can you not see the logic on how the empire has to fall? It can't survive. And he literally says, Spock says, that the lifespan of the empire is 200 some odd years or whatever he says. I've got the number he says. He says the number.
It's got a limit.
And then he says, do you not see the illogic in that?
Okay.
And then Spock literally says, I will take that under command. And then later on, if you remember in the later Star Treks, it comes back that Spock actually used the thing to end the empire. Okay.
And let's remember that in the mirror, beyond the mirror universe, which was a very bad allegory, because it was very one-sided, Star Trek is a progressive fantasy put into a sci-fi element. And mind you, I like Star Trek. I like the original. No, not this Discovery.
The original was not that at all. The original you're incorrect.
Did a very good job at presenting a lot of very difficult issues.
Correct.
Social issues.
Yes.
So I have no problem with that. But let's not kid ourselves that they had an overwhelming bias of progressivism.
Not the first one, they did not.
With all of with the rainbow, literally filled with rainbows and like kumbaya everywhere. The answer to everything was kumbaya. Let's give each other a hug.
Are you talking about the original series, or are you talking about the series afterwards? No, the original series, they were like, we should arm the people like Vietnam. They were literally blowing people up. Yes.
No. They did have conflicts. They did. Yes. But the overwhelming answer to almost everything was that they needed, even worse when it came to the Next Generation, which was absolutely all about kumbaya.
Next Generation was after, that's why, after the original series.
DS9.
I think you are wrong on the original series completely. The original
they
series
had a lot of episodes about kumbaya.
Yes, and they also had when they were like, remember one episode where the people, if you remember this one episode, when the people are literally stepping into this disintegration chambers because they wanted to have a safer, nicer war. Remember that?
Yeah.
And Kirk blows
bombs.
It all up.
Yeah.
And
the computer
Kirk blows it up.
People just walk into the disintegration chambers, and it was Kirk was supposed to walk into one of them because he was in a blast zone. Yeah, I remember that.
So no, dude, you're off on the original series. You're totally right in the rest of them. I agree. First one, you're off. It was definitely a mix. There was some kumbaya stuff, and there was some stuff that was hardcore. There was a mix.
Only when they were fighting like absolute aliens, like the rock monster or the.
Doesn't matter. There was still both. Is my point.
Well, they're not human.
Doesn't matter. They were both. Is what I'm saying. They were both. I'm just saying. Anyway, let me grab it. Let me grab it. It's okay. I don't mind you being wrong, but I'm right on Star Trek. Anyway, so yes, I'm looking over at Instagram. AT Yarb says our borders have been busted for the last 4 years. Who knows who's been allowed on American soil? It's a valid point. Agreed.
We'll find out.
We will
because
find out.
we're going to have mass deportations. Yay. This is a good thing.
I am worried about that.
Why?
I am worried about that. I
Why?
am worried that that Holman is too much of a zealot. I said it before, and I'm saying it again. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like he's a zealot. Now, what Trump said today, I'm okay with what he said. What he said was, we're going to get the criminal element out immediately.
He
No
didn't limit
worries.
it to that. That wasn't. He's made
No,
many
that's
statements
what
about
he
this.
said today.
He
He
said we're
said
starting.
criminal element out.
This was
And
the
I'm
start.
good with that.
No. He was going beyond that. He said that this was the start. This is the beginning of the change. And
Yep.
then he mentioned the immigration, where we're going to have the mass deportation of criminals. But guess what? Every illegal alien is a criminal. That is an inherent part of them. If you don't like the term illegal alien, call them criminals, because that's what they are. I don't
All
care
right.
which term you use, but that's what they are, and they need to be gone.
Okay.
Period.
Let's keep going with this piece. I'm saying, if there are at 15, 20, who knows what number there are? 15 million, whatever. Pick the number, 15
million is the
million.
generally
Fine.
accepted term.
There we go, 15 million of them. You start throwing all 50 million out like that. What I'm telling you is my worry, and I hope I'm wrong, but my worry is they're going to get overzealous. They're going to start kicking in doors of actual Americans. They're going to start yanking Americans out and put them in jail. I'm not okay with that.
No, that's
Now,
just your
if you
fear.
just, yes, it is. You're right, because the government has done it many times, and Holman's a zealot, and that is my worry. Look, I hope 6 months from now, I'm sitting here going, it's going well, no worries. But the government has shown me that it screws up too often for me not to be scared of this.
No,
I hope
I
I'm wrong.
truly don't think that's going to happen. I think what will happen, which is something I'm not happy about, is we're going to start going after all these criminals. They're going to be going to everyone who's been arrested, who's in jail right now, everyone who goes to a jail and then is being released by the sanctuary cities, the sanctuary states. There's going to be agents standing outside the door going, nope, you're coming with us. You're not going back out. And they're going to start deporting them that way. That's going to be part of the process. And as we deplete,
but this I like, right? As we do this, Mike, what should happen is a certain percentage, I don't know what the percentage is, but a certain percentage will go, holy crap, we're in trouble, and they'll leave on their own before they go to jail. And that's my hope, right? No, a certain percentage will. I don't know what that 10%, I don't know. I'll take it. I hope it's 90%, but I'll take 10%. If 10% go, shit, I'm next, let me get out of here. This is what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping people voluntarily do it. That is my hope. Now, I don't care if it's 10%. I'll take it. I wish it was 90. But the less people I have to round up with cops, the happier I am. The more we get people to walk away, the better.
I have no problem with the cops doing it. Of course, we're going to maintain. We got to watch them, and obviously, we punish those who go too far. Absolutely, I have no problem with that. But I have no problem with having the police and having a law enforcement do their job to enforce the standing law.
Yeah,
And
but
we
there's
need
a lot of
more
other
of
problems
that.
to deal with. Versus, put them on the subways. I don't care about getting. It's fine. Anyway,
This is part of on the subways. You see who burned a woman alive? Guess what? Illegal alien. Who killed
I'm with you.
Laken Riley? Illegal alien. You know what? Yes. And at this point, because we've made the nation so amorphous, we've left the border open so long that this is now they've pushed us to an extreme to deal with the problem. It's not as simple as, well, we close the door and they all walk away. It's not going to happen. We have to take extreme measures because they put us in an extreme problem.
Let me grab a couple of these if I could. This is, I want to make sure, guys, if you haven't shared this already, please share this. If you have not, please do so. Click the button known as like. It does matter. Every like you do, lets the Al Gore, Mr. Rhythm, lets that guy say, you know what? Let me show it to other people. That's what I'm trying to do. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please do so. Remember, people who subscribe, only 14% of you also select all notifications. You just select that so you get notified every time I go live. It does matter. I love a super chat. So you want to super chat me, happy to have it. You can rant me on Rumble. Sorry, I missed Rumble. I had to reboot it. Didn't know I had to. Also, if you want to subscribe, please subscribe or follow me. Why do you hate me? Why would you not subscribe or follow me? Please do so if you would. I appreciate that. It does matter. And the most important comment of the entire night
Don't
The
tell me you're
most
going for
critical
one for
comment
freedom. You're going for one for freedom.
is,
I
even
knew it.
though
I knew
Larry
I
won it
saw it.
tonight, 5-1, accurate statement, I
It was
still think it
actually
was a great debate. So
five
yes,
to
it
one.
was.
Five
Yes,
to one. Really?
it was
Really?
probably more like 10-1, but Juan's being good to you.
Not even close.
It's probably like 10-1, but I'll take it.
Not
It's
even.
fine.
Not even.
Just-
But
I'll take that. So yes,
remember, folks, at the end of all of this, Larry and I are going to still meet up. We're going to have breakfast. We're still going to hang out. We're
it's
still
true.
good
It's
friends.
true. It's true. Yes, it's
we,
true. Yes,
but
yes.
you know what? And I think this is also important. I think we're going to see more people having conversations, honest, real
Yes.
conversations, and real
Yes.
honest disputes online going forward, because now the environment is welcoming. And it's
Yes.
okay to have a conversation and to disagree and to do so with passion and with points. Because I guarantee you, at the end of the day, I'm going back and I'm double checking some of the things that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And I have to reevaluate some of the things that, how far are we willing to go? And I know I can get very passionate, but I'm also listening. And I know you're doing the same thing, Larry. And I
Yep.
know when the cameras go off, we're going to go and talk and go, now that I'm thinking about it, now that I've had some time to reflect on it, I looked this up. And that's the good thing, especially when we know the thing that has made it so difficult. And one of the reasons why America has gotten into such a bad place is because the government was actively shutting down our voices, not
Yep.
only treating us like children, but saying, you can't say that.
Yep.
That's not American.
Agreed.
And that's one of the best things that we heard today.
Yep. Let's see here. Straight Ann over on Rumble says Larry wins 7-6. Oh, 7. Straight. I'm glad I got the win, but it was more like 10-6. But fine, whatever. All right. Anyway,
Well, I think they're getting
take it.
closer to the accurate answer there. I still think I won.
Juan became a member. Thank you, Juan. I appreciate
go.
that. I appreciate that. Absolutely. And that makes him correct. There we go. Yes. Ryan says, I have an 8-2, Larry. Look at that. All right. Now we're talking. All right. Now we're good.
I think
So
there's a slight bias in your audience.
True. Accurate. And I'm taking full advantage of it. Anyway, Mike, look, we've been on the 2.5 hours. I gotta get out of here. I got work to do for tomorrow morning. I gotta get back in action. So I do want to say something if I can. Mike, thanks for coming on. Guys, please follow Mike over at No Sound Bites Allowed on Rumble. That's where he does a lot of his stuff. Head over to Rumble, check that out. He also does a live stream on Sundays. It's like 9 hours or something, whatever it is. He does it on Rumble and also on YouTube. And it's live. So you can go back and forth. Like you went back with us, you can go back and forth with him too. Tomorrow, I will be on at 1 p.m. My live show, my radio show will be on tomorrow at 1 p.m. If you want to call in, it's a call-in show, WYSL, Rochester, New York. I probably will not be doing a show tomorrow night. I am utterly swamped with work, but I will be having another one on Wednesday. I will be doing Wednesday for sure. I might do tomorrow, but I definitely will do Wednesday, 7 p.m. I appreciate it. Mike, anything before we go?
Hey, I love being on. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here with Larry and talk with him, and to give you guys a peek at some of the conversations we have in real life. It's always fun, and God knows me and Larry, we talk for hours at a time. So you guys get to see a little bit of that. But I appreciate your statements, whether you agree with me, disagree with me. I think you guys had some great points. You had some great opinions. I love each and every one of you. That's on my audience who's watching. That's Larry's audience that's watching. People who saw it for the first time. At the end of the day, please, the only way we have these kinds of conversations, the only way we make things better, no matter who you agree with, subscribe. You got to subscribe. Get Larry to 50,000. That's it. Get Larry to 50. We don't have to. We don't have to have every person in the world watching. 50,000. Not asking for a lot.
There we go. I love that, guys. Thank you so much. And by the way, what I want you to bring up, if you don't mind, after this is over, please in the chat after it's over, in the comments wherever you're watching, please put what you cared about Trump talking about, what bothered you, or what you were happy about, what Trump talked about today. What was the thing that triggered you or got you the most happy or excited or even angry? Either one. I will see you all very soon.